What is good? What is up? It's Jordan or Texans Thoughts, and I'm back, baby. Before I go any further, I'd like to double check that the audio is working. We good? Seems like we're good. Perfect audio. Let's go. I knew Ryan. I knew you got me. What is good, y'all? Welcome back to the streams. Shout out to everyone here. Patty Storm, my guy. Jay, Ryan, Money, Matt, Ziad, Father Griffin, Joris, Enrique, Bryce, Joey, Texas. Oh, Amrit is here. We got Jalen Green, the future MVP, Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and Go Rockets in the building. God damn, he knew Jordan had to return. So, oh my goodness. Y'all starting out with a bang. Money, Matt does what he always does. Plus his entire paycheck to your boy. I appreciate it, Matt. Thank you for the undying support. $100, my guy. God dang, get out of here with that. Y'all are too kind. Joey with 10 as well. Welcome back, handsome. Appreciate you, my guy. Good looking. Whew, the donations are, oh my goodness. Thank you guys so much. $5 New Zealand dollars from the man, the myth, the legend, Beige himself. What's up, Luca? What's up, Joshua? What's up, Luis? What's up, Andres? Jay, thank you, my guy. $10, I appreciate it. We even got Joke Eastby in the building. God damn. Money, Matt, calm down. Oh, Willie Boy P with 10 as well. Y'all gotta chill. I appreciate it very much. But y'all ain't even letting me speak about what I want to speak about. We got a lot on the schedule for today. I wanted to start with Joshua, $20. Welcome back, GOAT. Thank you, my man. Thank you. The support after 2 months of not uploading, it really warms my heart because I wanted to start this with an apology and an explanation of where I've been, because it's been 2 months since I posted and I let y'all down with that, and I apologize for that. I apologize mainly for lack of clarity of just not telling y'all what happened, why I stopped making videos. So I guess I just want to start with an explanation of that a little bit, just to give y'all the explanation that you guys deserve. I haven't made a video in 2 months. It was not really a decision that I made saying, oh, I'm gonna stop on November 13th whenever I stopped and then come back in 2 months. That wasn't really a decision I made. If that was, I would have told y'all. But it was kind of like, oh, this week I'm gonna take a week off because I'm busy and I gotta balance things. And then 1 week turned into 2 weeks, turned into 3 weeks, and you guys get the point. And so I was struggling really to just kind of balance everything going on in my life. YouTube, school. It was tough for me. I'm in university, and it started around midterm season, and I was just really busy, and it just started off 1 week, I want to take off, then it turned into 2, and it just snowballed from there. On top of that, I was kind of ramping up my duties with my Sports Illustrated scouting job, and that was such a great opportunity for me. It was Sports Illustrated, man. I never thought I'd write for Sports Illustrated, so it's like, hey, this is an opportunity I can't mess up. I got to put in the work, go above and beyond, all that stuff, and just kind of make the most of it. So I really wanted to work on that, and so that's where I kind of spent more of my time. And then also I recently got a recruiting job for my university's football team. So that was a huge deal for me, and something I wanted to put in a lot of effort and time into, because it's like, man, that is the first step. That's a huge step towards my ultimate dream, becoming a scout for the NFL. I mean, recruiting assistant for university football team, there's that's the entry kind of level requirements for the next step of being a scout in the NFL. That's the job that you need to get for them to say, hey, this guy's qualified, let's bring him in. So that was a huge step for me, and just something that, I couldn't let that opportunity go to waste. So I needed to pour all my time and effort into that, man. And so I was spread too thin, and I didn't have the time and the effort to put into YouTube. Something had to give, and so unfortunately that's what I chose. I didn't want to, make streams, make videos that were lower in quality, because I was spread too thin, you know what I mean? So you guys deserve better than that, and so I took the time off, and now I'm recalibrating, rebalancing my life, settling into those jobs, and finding the better balance between all this stuff. And so I really want to get back to the streams. That was the goal. The goal was honestly to start next week, but today we got some bombs. Dropping in the Texan world, so I had to come back for y'all. And damn, we got another $20 from Joey, Texas. We love and miss you so much, bro. I love and miss you guys too. Trust me, like, I didn't want to have to stop, but something needed to give. And now we're back. Now we're trying to balance it all better. And I appreciate you guys for coming right back with me and being understanding and being ready to talk Texans. And so without further ado, let's get into it. $10 for my boy Alpha. Thank you, my man. Welcome back, brother. We love you and we miss you. You guys are the best fans in the world, man. You guys are the best supporters. You guys are the best family in the world. I'm so glad we can build this community together and talk to Texans, man. Even through how shitty of a 2021 season that was. 2021 year is 2022, baby. First Texans thoughts stream of 2022. And so the arrow is hopefully pointed up. And it started with what happened today. The Houston Texans fired David, cool guys don't look at explosions, Culley, after just one season as the head coach. I appreciate all the congrats in the chat. Thank you very much, man. I'm trying to make this dream a reality. So, hopefully we can do it, man. Jordan, apologies, man. You got some absolutely awesome stuff coming down the pipeline. So proud of you, man. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you guys for understanding. But anyways, they fired him, man. I didn't see it coming. To be honest, I was shocked. I know in the past few days they had been kind of not leaking necessarily, but kind of hinting towards that could be the move. But you don't see it very often that a head coach is fired after just one season on the job, especially not when they didn't have any like Urban Meyer scandals. You know, David Culley wasn't out here kicking Kami Fairbairn in practice. He wasn't out here getting caught cheating on his wife, right? David Culley was a very likable guy, a guy you wanted to root for and wanted to have success. And most big-time media predicted us to win 0, 1, 2 games. He won 4. And so from that perspective, you know, it's not like he was a complete train wreck. He wasn't given a good team to work with. That can be true, but what I'm about to say next can also be true, is that while he wasn't a train wreck, he still wasn't very good at his job and still wasn't, someone who's going to really inspire us to believe that he's the long-term head coach of this Houston Texans team, right? I mean, you want to talk about what he did for his job. He did some things good, but he also failed in some basic things in terms of in-game management. I mean, we, us Texans fans, know we watched all the games. The big media that are clowning the Texans for firing him after 1 year, they didn't watch every single game. They didn't watch every single decision he made, every single punt within the opponent's 30-yard line, 40-yard line that he said, nah, I'm going to punt it. 4th and 1, 4th and 2, nah, I'm going to punt it. I mean, just egregious conservative decision after conservative decision that ultimately gave us a worse chance to win the football game. That's what it came down to. And that's the exact opposite of what you want from your head coach. So in-game decision-making, timeout and clock management, challenges, it was just not pretty. So there's that aspect of it. There's the other aspect of it that, what he was saying in terms of press conferences, kind of admitting that, he didn't always know what to do at the right time. And yeah, there's the whole, he's an honest guy. He's going to just tell the truth, all that stuff. That's good, whatever. But at the end of the day, he said more things that made him look bad in the press conference than made him look good. And that kind of reinforced our belief that, hey, this guy, when he initially got hired, hey, this guy doesn't have the resume as all these other candidates that we were looking at, that we interviewed, that were of interest, that other teams hired, right? That was always my thought from day one, why I wasn't really behind the David Culley hire. He just didn't have the resume as the other guys. And we saw that with the results this year. And so when you're talking about a head coach who didn't have the resume as other guys did, but he still got hired, then I'm not really going to feel too bad for him for getting fired after one season, because number one, he didn't really deserve the job. Number two, he wasn't going to get this job anywhere else. Number three, he got compensated and is going to continue to get compensated for doing his job for only 1 year out of the 5 years that he actually got signed for. And so he's still owed $22 million by the Texans. So David Culley, he got to live out his dream. He can say to his grandkids that, hey, I was a NFL head coach. That is a hell of an accomplishment that he should be proud of. That was a short-lived dream, but he's getting well compensated for it. So I don't know why the media is trying to shit on us and say we gave him a raw deal. National media is doing it. Some local media is doing it. It is what it is. That's the story they want to go with. It is what it is. That's how I feel about it. $22 million for a retirement plan. Leo, I'm trying to see your last name. I lost it. Cabrera says it perfectly. How can you be really upset with that, man? How can you really be upset about that? Joey, Texas member for 12 months. Joey, officially for a year. Thank you, my guy. He says this membership was the best investment ever. That means a lot for me, Joey, because I know Joey is someone who has a lot of the time differing thoughts from Texans Twitter, from my Texans Discord. And so it means a lot to hear this from him, because I know a lot of people will disagree with him at times, and even me included. But the fact that he still comes back day after day to the community that we built in the Discord, it means a lot, because, I mean, we are all Texans fans at the end of the day, and we can accept other people's differing opinions, have a conversation about it, and still be friends at the end of the day. So thank you, Joey. Thank you to everyone in the Texans Thoughts team for continuing to support your boy. I really appreciate it. Alpha with $5. He says, next time take us with you on your journey. Texans Thoughts Vlogs. I should, man. I should. I wanted to vlog when I first upgraded my whole setup. I literally got a Sony like DLSR camera. Number one, for the good quality, but number two, to try and do vlogs and stuff like that. But I mean, I just don't have the time for it, man. But F in the chat for Tim Kelly. We're going to get to that as well. Matt Marr. I just wanted to go over my David Culley kind of thoughts. David Culley wasn't that good, but he's got my respect for some of the good he's done. That's pretty much how I feel as well, George, or Jorge. I don't know exactly how to pronounce that, excuse me. But that's pretty much how I feel as well. Culley can say to his grandkids, he was the jumpstart the Texans needed to go on the playoffs run. Hey, hopefully, man. Hey, hopefully. He was brought in here, to be kind of the teacher, the culture guy. And I mean, I haven't heard too many complaints about the culture this year, really. You really haven't heard much at all. Teams, the guys that are free agents want to come back. Guys like Christian Kirksey, Justin Britt, they've expressed interest in coming back. So it's not like guys are shit talking this regime as much as certain guys like, Randall Cobb didn't have such nice things to say, or Whitney Merciless didn't have such nice things to say, because they were there for the older regime as well. So they kind of, yeah. Matt Marr says, I'm not a real popular guy. I'm actually pretty shy, but this is one of the best investments I've ever made. I didn't just get a ton of new friends. I got a family. Matt says it the best, man. I mean, we're a Texans family at the end of the day. Texans Thoughts team. We're a team for a reason. We're all on the same team, and we're all here to support each other. Texan stuff, life stuff. So if you guys want to join the team as well, it is a monthly membership. The link is in the description. There's two options. The first option, I believe, is $3.99 a month. You get access to our exclusive Discord, where we all just talk like a family, man. And then the higher tier is $10.99 a month, I believe, or $9.99 a month. And you get to call into the streams. So at the end of this stream, my team leaders, I'm going to get y'all to call in. We go and get to talk about the Texans, get to hear your thoughts, and ask me questions that you like. So there's the benefits from that. Quarantine Carpenter Bills, thank you for the $2, my guy. He says national media or Devin Culley is a good head coach. Look, man, national media just loves to shit on us. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know what it is. I mean, if you look at the just pure win-loss record, yeah, I get it. He won 4 games. People were expecting us to win 0-1. The people who were expecting us to win 0-1 were dumb, first of all, because that is a historically bad team. And Nick Caserio had brought more proven veterans to this team to improve the roster than from what was last year. So that was never really a realistic option to me. I think in before the season started, I said 3 to 5 wins. That's kind of where I'm going with. They ended up with 4. So there you go. My dog, you back? What's up? I missed you. That's not. Yeah, my dog is back. I missed you. Also, who you want in the draft? Cook it up, ZZ. Thank you for the $8, my guy. I appreciate that very much. Who do I want in the draft? We're going to talk about that a little bit later, but I will give you the name number 3, Kyle Hamilton. Bring it to me. That's if not one of Aiden Hutchinson or Kayvon Thibodeau falls, because then, whoo. But any of those 3, cooking, man. We're cooking. I'll talk more about the draft later, and I'll be making videos about the draft. That's my plan, at least, to try and make kind of film breakdowns on these draft prospects. If you guys were here since day one with my channel started, love you. If you weren't, it's all good. It happens. I get it. But what my channel started off with was film breakdowns, and it was about Texans players, kind of talking about their strengths, talking about their weaknesses. And so that's kind of the idea I want to get to with all these draft prospects. They're going to be a little bit shorter videos, but they're kind of just going to show, what is this prospect good at? What can he improve on? What kind of his scheme fit? Where do I project him to go? Kind of player comparisons, stuff like that. So I'm trying to do a lot of those. No promises, but I'm trying to do a lot of those. That is the goal. That is the plan. Hopefully I can hold myself to it. Bring back Bill O'Brien. Oh, man. Hell no. Hard pass on Eberflus. I think there's better guys out there than Eberflus, but I would accept Eberflus. He'd be pretty cool. What's going on with those likes? Why only 45 likes? Hit the like button, y'all. It helps support me, and I appreciate it very much. Into, growing the channel. Oh my God, Jordan's so sweet. Joey, man, you best, man. Ryan, member for 13 months, one of our longest members and one of our best team leaders. Y'all know Ryan. He's been on the stream probably the most out of everyone, and he's just the best in terms of having a great conversation with. And you guys follow him on Twitter if you'd like to, at GM Fanatic. Got good Texans knowledge, man. He's building a big little useful kind of, I'll keep it a secret, actually. I'll keep it a secret. Because I'll show y'all soon. Randomness, thank you for joining the Texans Thoughts team. I appreciate it, my guy. Ryan said, great investment. The community we have is pretty solid. I recommend you also try to join us. Life is more than football, so join the Texans Thoughts family. Thank you, Jordan, for making it possible. Y'all are the best, man. Y'all are the best. Yeah, Long Neck Mills playing pretty good. All right, I will address the Mills stuff after the coaching and the draft stuff. Desmond King coming back. Maybe he's made that adjustment to outside corner pretty well, but he's still not ideally an outside corner. Alpha, also a member for 12 months. Appreciate you, my guy. Matt Mar, yes sir, welcome to the team. Jabraylon, badge moment. Let's go, randomness. Jabraylon says, for $5, thank you, my guy, for the support. He says, a couple of candidates to seriously look at would be your guy, Matt Eberflus, Mike McDaniel, Doug Peterson, Todd Bowles, Clint Kubiak, and a few others. I'm going to rank those guys, Jabraylon, because you gave me $5. I'm kidding. Not really. I'm kidding. I would go Todd Bowles. I would go Matt Eberflus. I would go Mike McDaniel. I would go Doug Peterson, then Clint Kubiak. That would be kind of how I'd rank those guys 1 to 5 in terms of guys I would want to be the Texans head coach. Jay Williams, 13 months, my guy, another one of our best team leaders. Shout out to Jay, met him in Austin. What a great dude. What a great dude. This membership is legit. Joining a family, nothing but love in the chat. Shout out to 713 Houston Sports. Ruben, my guy, check out his channel if you guys want some more Texans, basically some more Texans thoughts. I mean, go check him out. He always brings the energy, the hype. I love you, buddy. We'll join in. We'll do a collab soon. I just wanted to do today kind of by myself, Ruben, but shout out to the boy, Ruben. $5 from Dylan Draper. He says, I find it sad how the national media is blasting us for firing a bridge coach. Yet last year, the same damn media was blasting us for hiring him. When you're a Texans fan, the media, it's just a lose-lose situation, man. The national media, at least. You're wronged if you do, wronged if you don't. It is what it is, man. They need a story. The easiest story is to bash us and find that angle. But we know better. So that's why you follow small creators. That's why you follow certain local media. Because they'll be more honest with you. They don't have an agenda to get off. Most of them. Alright, I think we're all caught up. Oh, no, we are not. Brown Chubby Bed, thank you for the $5. So glad you're back. Wish I knew you were on earlier. I think interior offensive line is the most important, but what do you think of grabbing Jameson Williams for Mills? Ooh, I agree completely, man. I think interior offensive line is the number one hole on this team. You can't really take that at 3. I think that'd be a bit of a reach, but in a trade down, go interior offensive line. If you get a second, first round pick, go interior offensive line. Second round, third round, fourth round, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th round, gets you an interior offensive lineman. I completely agree. I think we could use 3 brand new ones, and keep Titus at tackle, and we'll talk about Laramie Tunsil. What's going to go on with that? What do I think of grabbing Jameson Williams? He's one of my guys this year. I thought he was a first-round talent the minute I laid eyes on him. I think he's better than John Mechie, so I think he's the better Alabama wide receiver. He is Will Fuller with better hands and better hamstrings. And that is a dangerous-ass player. I don't even need to describe what his game's like. Y'all know what Will Fuller is like when he's healthy. Now, Jameson Williams did tear his ACL in the national championship, so prayers up to him. But luckily, ACL injuries are not what they used to be. They're a lot easier to recover from. And I know in basketball players, which this was actually crazy, but I read an article about how basketball players have actually come back from ACL injuries more athletic.
That blew my mind. Now, I don't know if it's the same with football players, but ACL surgery technology has improved a lot, so I don't think it's going to make me, sour on him too much. I would still take him probably top 20, 25. Hopefully he can fall to the second round. We take him top of the second round. That's a steal. That's a steal. Pep Hamilton for OC. I love it. I love it. Davis Mills over Dak Prescott. The hot takes are out today. Oh, man. Maybe one day. Randomness. Maybe one day. I think Dak's more proven. But maybe one day. Your pick for head coach, we're going to get to that in a second. Let me just catch up on all these notifications because you guys are showing so much love and I really appreciate it. I did not expect this whatsoever. We got 211 people, concurrent viewers. Let's go. 76 likes. Oh my goodness, y'all are too kind. Austin Salazar for the $5 says Pep Hamilton for OC. That man did pretty good for the quarterback position. And then Flores for head coach. So with that being said, because I love that line of logic, Austin, let's talk about the next step, the next stage in this Texans rebuild. All right, the foundation was laid. The GM was hired in Nick Caserio. The bridge coach was hired and fired. Season 1 is in the books. We've gotten some guys, some rookies from last year that, hey, Nick Caserio did a damn good job drafting. No first-round pick, no second-round pick. You got a potential starting quarterback in Mills. I think he should be probably the guy for 2022, but give him some competition. Nico Collins, you guys know how I feel about him. I think he's a starting wide receiver. Brevin Jordan showed a lot of great things as a receiving tight end. Garrett Wallow, probably the least impressive rookie, but he still had some moments later in the season of some potential. They just played him really late into the season. And then Roy Lopez, the best of them all, in my opinion. Dependable since he stepped into the starting lineup. And by the end of the season, he was making more tackles, making more plays. And so I think he's your starting, one tech defensive tackle, nose guard, whatever you want to call it, of this Texans team. So that foundation is set. There's some young guys. Hopefully there are some free agents that we brought in last year that we can retain. Guys like Malik Collins, guys like Cam Grigill maybe deserves an extension depending on the scheme. Tavier Thomas, I think, could deserve an extension. He balled out. So there's some guys that hopefully we can bring back and be contributors for this Texans team. Willie Boy P as well, a member for 13 months. If you're not a member, join the Discord before the rebuild gets hot. You're missing out. The link is in the description. It only works, I believe, on desktop, not mobile. So if you want to pull out your laptop or if you want to do that later, that would be greatly appreciated. P. Hitch, welcome to the Texans Files team, my guy. Thank you. Welcome. For those who joined, because we've got 2 new people, I'm going to show y'all what to do to get into the Discord because it can be a little confusing. And I want to make sure you guys get the benefits that you paid for. So let me just share my screen on how to do this real quick. All right, so if you go to my channel, The Film Don't Lie, go to my channel, you go over to the community tab, and you'll see these members only posts. So that is the link for the exclusive Discord. It'll only show up if you are a member. So yeah, and you can see, there's some member exclusive videos that I posted in the past. I can't make any promises on those because I don't want to give any false promises, but you will definitely get access to the Discord. And if you are a leader, you can call into the stream, man. So I appreciate that. That's how you can get to the exclusive content. Again, you go to my YouTube channel, go over to the community tab. It'll be there for you. All right. So let's get into what we're going to get into about the next stage in the Texans rebuild. And that is to find our next head coach. No more bridge coaches, all right? No more bridge coaches. For Nick Caserio to fire David Culley after 1 season and for them to kind of prolong that decision a little bit and not fire him right away, not fire him, weeks 16, 17, 18, because if that happened, then the Texans could have gotten a head start on interviewing head coaches. They changed the rules this year, so you could do it in season. So they missed out on that time. And then they even, when all that first wave of firings came through, Nagy, Zimmer, Fangio, Judge, there's someone else I think I'm missing, but when that first wave came through, it was still reported that the Texans, they were going to take it another few days to talk it out about David Culley. And so when that's happening, to me, I didn't know where to think about it, but now that it's actually happened, it makes sense that what they were doing is thinking about who's this next guy. They weren't necessarily spending all that time thinking, is Culley going to be fired or not? I think you can tell based off of the season that he was, in terms of a performance. And so I don't think they needed to think about that for too long. I think they were really thinking about, okay, who is our next guy? Who are we going to line up to go get? And let's go reach out to them. Let's see how they feel, if they potentially want to come here. So they had to make the calls. And then especially when Brian Flores got shock fired, that's what really, really made them have to think twice. So I'm sure they reached out to, like the guys you see here from the great Aaron Wilson reported, that their top candidates are Josh McDaniels, Brian Flores, Jerod Mayo. Aaron Wilson backed that up again by saying Brian Flores is our top candidate at the time, and because he has a strong relationship with Nick Caserio. And Adam Schefter backed up the initial one about Jerod Mayo, saying that, hey, Jerod Mayo's their top guy. So we got two kind of top dogs in the race. Seems like they're 1A, 1B, whatever order you want to pick. I don't know. I don't have a brain reading machine. That's not even a machine, man. I don't know what I'm talking about. Joey with another $5. Thank you, my guy, so much. If you joined as a member, make sure you join the Discord. The Discord is amazing. It's good vibes in there, man. It is good vibes in there. 200 viewers. What's up? Yes, sir. Let's go, Pat. Follow my boy Patty Storm on Twitter if you don't already. But, yeah, so they're leaning New England guys, right? That's what all reported candidates have been. And, initially, I don't like that. I have a bad taste in my mouth from Bill O'Brien. Former New England coordinators turned head coaches have not turned out too well. Don't have the best track record. Example, this season Joe Judge just got fired. Whether it's an offensive guy, whether it's a defensive guy, whether it's special teams, not many Patriots coaches have found success outside of New England. And so I totally get the skepticism behind, bringing in another Patriots guy and really diving into that Patriots South thing. Cal McNair said we're not Patriots South. Well, your actions speak louder than your words. So I'm totally with y'all on the skepticism. But I think what those failed Patriot coaches didn't have was a Patriots GM to align with their Patriots philosophy. So, in a sense, leaning into the Patriots South thing could be good because you need to have your head coach and your GM aligned in their philosophy, or else you see all these power struggles and it doesn't work out because there's differing thoughts, right? So I think leaning into that is kind of like a boom or bust scenario. If it all works out, maybe we can replicate the success that the Patriots have had. The Patriots are the most damn winningest team in the NFL history, man. Right? So if we can somehow replicate that, great. If we can't, then I think you start from scratch. And that means firing the head coach. And that means even firing Nick Caserio. Right? So I think it's kind of either you embrace it and maybe it works greatly, or you embrace it and it doesn't work and then you're back at ground zero and you can start fresh. And we're not wasting another 7 years, looking at another candidate like that, right? So I think in that sense it's good. And I think that on top of that, not all New England coaches are the same. And so I'll use like kind of a scouting term here. That you don't scout the player's helmet, you scout the player. Scout the player, not the player's helmet. Right? Just because he went to Clemson doesn't mean he's going to be better than some small school guy. Just because he's an Ohio State quarterback doesn't mean he's going to be horrible. Stuff like that, right? So just because he's a New England coach doesn't mean he's going to fail. I totally get the skepticism behind it. I feel it. But we have to evaluate all these guys individually. And so I think talking about the first one, talking about Brian Flores, he would be my top option for those asking who is my head coach pick out of the realistic options that the Texans are currently looking at, because I could talk about all the different coaching candidates out there for years. Out of the 3 guys we're going to talk about today, until we hear more reports about who else they could be interested in. Pat is in the voice chat, Jordan. Oh, shit. Oh shit. Are y'all popping off in the voice chat? That's the other thing. That's the other great thing about the Discord. Pat, I will get you in here in a second for sure, 100%. We got a voice channel where we talk, have some good times, some good conversations, talk about football, talk about life. It is what it is. Whatever you want to talk about, we got you. But yeah, so I'm gonna give my quick thoughts about these three coaches first, and then I'm gonna get the Patrick Storm, the one and only Patrick Storm, into the stream to talk, and then I'll get some team leaders onto the stream to talk as well. But Brian Flores is different from Bill O'Brien. Is different from Joe Judge, right? Is different from Josh McDaniels and Jerod Mayo. So we have to evaluate them individually based off of their own individual resume. Yes, Brian Flores was raised in that Bill Belichick tree, but his resume offers a lot. I mean, he started off as a scout, number one. Number two, he became an offensive assistant. He did special teams. He coached as a defensive assistant. He was a safeties coach. He was a linebacker coach. And then he became a head coach as well. So he's worn all these different hats. He understands all these different operations of a football team. Literally every phase of the football team. And then he's been, it'll be a few minutes, Pat. However much time you need. Let me know when you're good. I need to get this spiel off. But so he's worn all these hats. He knows all these things, and he already has the head coach experience with the Dolphins, and he did damn well with the Dolphins. You want to talk about a head coach who actually elevated a shitty roster? It's not David Culley. That's not the guy to be praising right now. That's not the guy to be hating on the NFL team for firing. It's Brian damn Flores. Brian damn Flores had to lead the tank for Tua Dolphins in 2019. That roster didn't have a single All-Pro or single Pro Bowler on it. That roster that he inherited. Not a single one. That's the only team in the NFL that didn't have at least one of those players. So he inherited a bum of a team that was actively and obviously tanking. And, did he make the playoffs? No, I'm not trying to say he's some amazing first year. But they won 5 games. A lot more than they thought. And then he continued that success in the next 2 seasons, winning 10 and then winning 9 games. And he did all this with a horrible roster still, with Tua being very inconsistent, being injured as a rookie, and then being still inconsistent this past year. An offensive line that was worse than the Texans. I mean, they were starting Julian Davenport, man. It was bad, man. So I think he's a guy who knows how to maximize his talent, knows how to get his guys to buy in. He's a leader. He's a hard ass. He will get on you if you make a mistake. But I think every football team needs that. And so I'm a big fan of Flores. I'm a big fan of his defensive mind as well. The Dolphins, they started off in 2019. Their defensive DVOA was 32nd. It improved to 11th in 2020, and it improved to 10th in 2021 this past season. So you see the upward trajectory that Brian Flores had that team on, and he still got fired somehow. So I think he's going to be a great guy to pair with Nick Caserio. They have the Patriots background, so their philosophies can align, build that dominant defense, and then go on from there. And the good thing about having a defensive guy and particularly Brian Flores is that you can allow your offensive coordinator to just completely take control of the offense. He's not going to have any say over the offense really. And that's where Pep Hamilton comes in as the internal promotion. Because how do I share my screen? Where did I share my screen from? There we go. Because the Texans fired Tim Kelly. Tim Jelly is no more. He really only existed for the first 6 quarters of this season, and then he went downhill from there. I don't think anyone's upset with Tim Kelly being fired. And so the Texans are expected to retain some members of the coaching staff depending on which head coach is hired and how he feels about them. And so I think Pep Hamilton hopefully is one of those guys. I know the Texans local media said that Pep Hamilton is kind of out of here. And I know he got interviewed by the Panthers for their OC job. But things can change, man. Things change so quickly in this world. And maybe Pep didn't know that David Culley was being retained. Because when David Culley was still going to theoretically be retained, he was banking on Tim Kelly. Tim Kelly was his guy. He didn't want to be fired. So, of course, Pep's not going to just continue to be a quarterback coach. he does his great work with Davis Mills and he's going to not get rewarded for it? No. He wants to make a promotion. But now that role is open, the promotion's right here, man. You ain't got to move. Your family doesn't got to move. You can continue to develop the quarterback that you've went from a raw developmental third-round quarterback to having some damn good games by the end of the season. I will have to admit it. Made huge jumps this season, man. Huge jumps. So credit to Davis Mills, credit to Pep Hamilton. I don't think Pep is going to give up on Mills. That's the hope, man. That's the hope. So I think that's a great option. That would be my top option out of the three guys. Tim Kelly only knew how to run flea flicker. Yeah, that's the crazy thing about Tim Kelly, man. 99% of the games, he would be run, screen, or run, draw. And then every once in a while, he busts out a flea flicker or a play action screen that goes for a touchdown against the Browns, Philip Lindsay. Like, where is that all game, man? Where is that all game? So he just wasn't consistent enough for me, and I'm glad he's gone. Great having you back, brother. Thank you, Beige. Thank you, my guy. Pep as a head coach was really good at finding how to place below average players in the XFL to make him OC. Yeah, Tears. That's the thing about Pep is he's got a lot of good experience. He's already been an OC. He was an OC for the Colts with Andrew Luck, and he had some pretty good years improving that offense. He's been a head coach for the XFL. And I like these guys who have a wide resume, who have worn all these different hats, because they know how this operation should work. They're not just specialists. They know how this entire thing should run. So that's good. Lovie Smith should stay. The guy did a great job. All right, let's have the Lovie Smith discussion. Because statistically, the Texans defense improved in two areas: turnovers and pass defense. Now, the pass defense is because of the turnovers. The run defense was still dead last. Still dead last in the league. And so that really hurt us. Now, the defense didn't get helped out a lot because the offense was horrendous, I'll give you that. But I think what Lovie Smith did, I don't know that you can really fully attribute him taking over to the turnovers thing. I know that's what he's been known for, but you don't coach like Lonnie Johnson just having a gift of an interception just fall into his lap at safety when he's 30 yards down the field, not really in position. You know, you don't coach overthrows. You don't coach like stuff like that. And so what I'm trying to say here is that turnovers are a very lucky stat and a very high variance stat. And if we saw over 2 seasons that the Texans turnovers improved both seasons, I would say, okay, yes, this is a Lovie Smith, that he's the reason for this, right? But with just it happening one season, it's not enough evidence for me to say that, okay, this is because of Lovie Smith and what he's teaching. You know what I mean? So I don't know about Lovie Smith, and especially if we're going with Jerod Mayo or Brian Flores, he ain't gonna stay. He ain't gonna stay. He has completely opposite philosophies in terms of a defense, in terms of 3-4 versus 4-3, in terms of aggressive Brian Flores versus conservative Lovie Smith, exotic disguises, switching up defensive coverages with Mayo and Flores versus, sticking your Tampa 2, don't disguise things too much with Lovie Smith. So I think they're just two different people. We had 3 interceptions last season and it was 17 this season. I'm not saying that we didn't improve. Like, clearly the numbers are there. They aren't lying to you. I mean, in terms of the turnover, they did increase. But what I'm saying is that turnovers vary so much from year to year. And a lot of the interceptions we were getting, think back to the interceptions we were getting. Was it Terrence Mitchell ball hawking? Was it Justin Reed ball hawking, coming across the field and baiting the quarterback's eyes and really getting a nice pick? Were they jumping routes? Were the linebackers jumping routes? Christian Kirksey, Cam Ridge-Hill, or were they kind of a lot of tip balls, a lot of overthrows, a lot of turnovers that don't happen every game? Ryan Tannehill tossed 5 interceptions in one game, but he's never done that before in his entire career. That was an unlucky, weird game for him, that game. You know what I mean? So it's stuff like that we got to consider talking about Lovie Smith and what he did in terms of actually improve this defense. The return, yes sir, 2 times Malcolm. For those who are just joining the stream now, and if you want to know what happened to me, why I was gone, check out the first few minutes of the stream. I explained it there, but we're going to stick to Texan stuff right now. You got to look at the players Lovie had. He had no name players. I agree. He didn't have a lot to work with. I thought he had some decent veterans that fit his scheme really well in terms of Malik Collins, in terms of Cam McGruder-Hill, in terms of bringing in Tavier Thomas. I think John Grenard fits the 4-3 much better. Roy Lopez played well. Terrence Mitchell was like a slightly below average corner. Desmond King turned it on later in the season. He didn't have a lot to work with, but I thought that it was definitely improved from last year in terms of the talent. Ready? Pat's ready. All right. I gave you all my Brian Flores spiel. I'll quickly go over Jerod Mayo and I'll get Pat in here. Jerod Mayo, I understand the hype on him. Well, let me not even say that. Let's talk about the hype behind him because he's a young guy. He's rising through the ranks quickly. You hope he's, the next Brandon Staley or whatever, the next defensive guru. He's a former player, so players always love that. It makes it easier to buy into them and believe what they're saying. And he's, a fresh mind of youth. And that's always attractive. But I think you need to find the balance between being that youthful guy and also having, a good, tangible resume. And for him, he's been a linebacker coach for 3 years. Not a single year of DC experience. And it's just been a quick rise for him. And sometimes that can be great. But other times, it just may be too soon. So I'm not saying Jerod Mayo isn't going to be a great head coach in the future. I just think it's too soon for me personally to want to take that risk. I'd want to go with someone who's a little bit more proven. And it kind of goes back to my thoughts about Joe Brady when he was potential head coach candidate. I thought it was too soon. I think he can do it in the future, but I thought it was too soon based off of his resume, based off of not having a lot of NFL experience, based off of the NFL experience that he actually was as the OC for the Panthers, not actually being as amazing as everyone fluffed him up to be. And now look, after 2 seasons, he's been fired as OC. So, I don't know, man. I just think that Flores is a safer pick than Mayo. I think there's a lot of other candidates that are safer as well. But do they have the ceiling that Mayo does? I don't know, man, because it's hard to know what Mayo really is after just 3 years. But that's my thoughts on him. I would definitely prefer Flores to Mayo. But I think I would prefer Mayo to McDaniels. I don't know. I go back and forth on those two a lot. But it's time for Patty Storm to join us. Let me make sure I read chat real quick. D'Amico Ryans. Same type of thing with D'Amico Ryans. At least he has 1 year of DC experience. But same thing. It's just like, I just feel like it's too soon. Nico and Brevin going to be special. I agree with you, Iceman. I like them. Where should Watson get traded to? Miami? I don't know. I mean, we're probably going to, Pat maybe might have some insights on that. But, I mean, New York Giants got the most capital, man. They got the most capital. Brian coaching head coach. Could you imagine that, man? Oh, man. Flores hired Mayo as DC. I would love that. Because you'd think that they have similar philosophies being, linebacker coaches in the Patriots scheme. If he was able to steal Mayo, I'd be happy with that. I think that's a good natural progression for Mayo. Go from linebacker coach to DC. All right, let's get Pat in the building. Mr. Patty Storm, how are you doing?
Good, man. You?
I'm doing good. I'm really excited to be back. Hopefully I can keep up these streams for as long as possible. And I'm excited to talk to you because it's been too long, man. It's been too long.
Oh, it has. But first, I got to say, congratulations, man. The college deal, that's awesome.
Yeah, man. I honestly, I have no idea. This, whole thing has been insane. And so that was really just it's just really happening. It was literally genuinely one of those moments in my life was pinch me. That's not real, right? So it was unbelievable for me. Hopefully I can turn that into something, but it's been fun so far. So thank you very much, Pat. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Don't forget me when you make it big time. You can give me a job, like Bill O'Brien did for Jack Easterby, and I promise I won't backstab you.
Oh,
okay? So,
I would love for you to be the Easterby to my Bill O'Brien, Pat. Nothing more. Let's do it. Let's go run some team into the dirt.
Let's do it, man. Yeah, so I'm on the phone, baby. Yeah, man, that's huge, and I'm glad you're back. I know you've been busy and dealing with school and the SI stuff, so it's cool to have you back. It's good to see your content start flowing out, and your articles have been just insane, man. So it's cool to read your stuff and see you taking off like you've been doing. So
Thank you, man. Thank you. It's been a grind, but I mean, this is like my passion in life. I mean, school is school. I gotta finish it, but I know like
yeah,
this is what I want to do. This is where I'm gonna be able to put in 110% of my effort. And so, I mean, it's what I gotta do, man. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. And yeah, man, I'm excited, man. Hopefully it can turn out to something. But how have you been, man? How's Noah been with baseball? Is it all looking good?
good. Yeah, we had practice tonight. We've got potentially a scrimmage with another team this weekend. And then we've got, I don't know, I think for the next 14 weekends in a row, we have tournaments all over the state that we're going to be in.
Jeez. Pat.
I know, man. It's going to be wild. This kid is he's killing it. They've moved him. He was playing third base. They've moved him to shortstop now. He's like rebounded 100% and then some from breaking his wrist.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to keep him out of the backyard because he wants to go outside and practice every single day. And I'm afraid he's going to get burned out, but he's still loving it. So I guess at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I'm happy for you, happy for him. Happy that he's found, that passion in life. I mean, especially when you're a kid, like just having something to do and put your time towards and teach him like hard work and stuff like that. So that's awesome. And you're seeing the results already. So, I mean, you ever think about playing football? Maybe I can scout him.
He wants to, man, but being that what I've gone through since with high school and just the injuries I sustained there, like and seeing all the stuff nowadays that's coming out with all the head injuries and stuff like that, it's scary, man. So I don't know. Maybe we'll start off with some flag football or something. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I think the day I become a father, hopefully, knock on wood. But I don't think I would let my kid play contact football either. I mean, it's really rough, especially like you said with the brain injuries, man. It can change your life in a what's the word? In a snap of a finger. So I don't know, man. It's risky, but baseball, man, there is great money in that. So you get the retirement fund going. You're chilling, Pat.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. All right, let's get to what the people want to know about the Texans, and they want to know your thoughts, Pat, because the Texans made a huge move, firing David Culley. What are your kind of initial thoughts on that? Did you see it coming? Were you shocked? Do you think it's the right move? Do you feel like he was screwed over? What are your thoughts on that, Pat?
No, man, screwed over might be one way to describe it. I feel like going into this, it was one of those things that him and his agent had to have known that it wasn't like a long-term plan unless there was some immediate, like drastic success from what, the previous season. So you go from 4-12 now to 4-13. It's obviously there's not a whole lot of improvement. Yeah, there may be some happier players on board and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But just the mental errors, and I get it, first year head coach. The mental errors though were just staggering. Like the one I keep going back to is declining the penalty and then still punting the football, or punting it on third down, or just the clock management, his answers in the press conferences.
Oh my God.
Like saying he didn't learn until week 18 of the season that going up tempo might have been beneficial to Davis. It's like man, what?
Yeah.
Like, I know you haven't been head coach before, but you've had years and years and years of being on the sideline and being in meetings and being in film study and listening to other coaches and some really good coaches that he's worked with. And you would think that these are the things that you would learn, right? Like you look at a guy like Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel's was only an NFL coach for 4 years before he became a head coach. And there's some things that guy does, whether it be clock management or just kind of finding loopholes in the rules and stuff like that, where his football knowledge just shows, and it helps him so much be that much better of a coach. Whereas then you got a guy like David Culley that's been in the league for 20 something years, and he's making these just day one mistakes. So it's tough. And when you look back at it, like he's a great person. I'm sure he meant well and he tried his hardest. And the guys liked him, but at the end of the day, it's about wins and losses.
Yep.
And being a nice guy is not going to get you, is not going to outweigh your wins and losses in the NFL. So that's why NFL stands for not for long, man.
Oof. Facts, Pat. Facts right there. It's a business at the end of the day. It's a results league. And
yeah,
it wasn't good enough. I completely agree with literally every point you've made. Great guy, likable guy, but that's not what you're getting paid for. That's not what you're getting paid for. And so they had to move on. I think it was the right decision, even though, the human aspect of it, you're never happy when a guy loses his job. But like you said, he's getting compensated very, very well for his job. Only 1 year of the 5-year contract, and he's still going to get $22 million. So, I mean, he gets to live out his NFL dream, and he gets paid to do it. So it's hard to feel bad for the guy, man. I mean, I will take that deal 10 times out of 10 for sure.
Yeah, and it's I mean, I understand that at the end of the day, he may be a little bit disappointed in how it turned out, but I think he can hang his head high knowing that he took one of the 32 positions of being a head coach in the NFL, and not very many people get to do that.
Yep.
And I get it was for 1 year, but he put in the time over the years, and he made it to that level. And yeah, it sucks that it was a short run, but that's kind of it sucks that I hope he picks up I'm sure he'll pick up another coaching job somewhere else. I hope his coaching career doesn't end on something like this, like on a low, like being fired from being a head coach, and go out somewhere on top. Maybe go back to Baltimore. I'm sure they'd love to have him back over there.
Yeah.
That ended on a good note for him being promoted out of there. So
hey, the Ravens
he can go over there and help him.
The Ravens offense did not look too good this year, so
yeah, he can go back over there and help them use that other third round pick they got for him getting promoted next year in the draft.
Man, that is crazy for sure. But yeah, I agree. Hopefully he can find a spot landing on his feet. Jerome T. Green, thank you for the $7, my man. He said every non-Texans fan shit on the hire of Culley. Now that he's fired, it was a bad firing. Make up your minds. LOL. Yeah, Pat, what do you make about the media, that mainly the national media, kind of clowning the Texans, kind of saying that, he was fired unfairly? I mean, I know you touched on it earlier, but do you think like the media, like the national media particularly, just has something out for the Texans? I mean, it seems like they do. They always just love to, always see the worst side of the Texans.
I mean, to be fair, the Texans have kind of done this on themselves, right? It's low hanging fruit.
Yep.
They've put themselves in a position to where everybody is going to be hyper vigilant on every move that they make.
Yep.
And so I get it. They deserve a fair bit of the criticism for sure. I think that there's some fake outrage out there because, like I tweeted out earlier, that a lot of the people that are upset about the firing were the same people that were like, what are the Texans doing? Why didn't they hire Eric Bieniemy? Why didn't they hire Joe Brady? Why didn't they hire Leslie Frazier? Why are they hiring David Culley? The guy's never been a coordinator, yada, yada, yada. And now all of a sudden after 1 year and he goes 4-13, they're like, well, he exceeded expectations. And I'm like, no, he exceeded your expectations. Yeah. Like, y'all were the ones that were saying, oh, they're a 1-win team, when in reality, and then y'all were over there hyping up Urban Meyer. Oh, Urban Meyer's about to turn the Jaguars around because they got Trevor Lawrence and this and that. And the guy gets fired, halfway through the season. And yet David Culley was able to make it all the way through and beat Urban Meyer's Jaguars twice. So it's like, the national media is going to have their spiel and they're going to have their stance, and because they're the national media, their opinion is going to carry a little bit more weight. But a lot of it's fake, man. I think a lot of it's fake outrage, and I don't get it. I think it's dumb. I think it's unfair to the team. I think it's unfair to Culley. I think it's unfair to the fans, really. So yeah. I think that I don't get it. But they're in it for clicks, man. They're in it to that's their paycheck at the end of the day. So I get it.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right in terms of the fact that it's their paycheck. It's they're doing this, for kind of their interest, their clicks, they're doing favors for maybe it's an agent who wants them to put out a certain narrative, certain things like that, as to why they are all tweeting out kind of the same thoughts, the same narrative, pushing that thought. But it is what it is, man. That's why we got good local media and good local Texans creators who have, more of a shared view as the rest of the fan base. And so that's why you got to follow those guys like Patrick Storm. All right, next thing. So we talked about the Culley firing. I guess we can talk about the Tim Kelly firing as well before we get to head coach candidates. What are your thoughts on TK? I mean, I don't think anyone really is defending him. Am I shocked? Hell no. I think he should have been fired when Bill O'Brien was fired, but I get it. Maybe he was the olive branch to Deshaun Watson. Well, now that's gone, so he should be gone too. And he coordinated even worse this year than he did last year, so good riddance. How do you feel about that, about Tim Kelly?
Totally, zero sympathy at all. I just, nothing changed. He didn't adapt. He didn't play style didn't change. There was just repeated tendencies and third and long situations. He couldn't scheme his way out of a paper bag.
Nope.
It's like, I understand your running back situation was not ideal. I understand you're dealing with having Brandon Cooks as your only star wide receiver. Yep. You've got Tyrod Taylor, who week 1 was great, and then gets hurt halfway through week 2, and Davis Mills comes in. And I get it. You've got to change. It's a complete 180 in the offensive style, right? You don't have a guy that's as elusive, that can escape the pocket, that's as seasoned as Tyrod. Tyrod's been in the league for a long time. Davis has had 0 games under his belt going into that, just kind of thrown to the wolves. So I get it. Week 2, week 3, week 4, maybe there's some growing pains, but it's nothing got better at all. And I get that the last couple of weeks Davis has kind of shown out. I get Davis is the only rookie to have multiple 300-yard passing games with 0 interceptions. I get all those things, but at the end of the day, there wasn't enough, and there was no growth. And that's my thing. There was no growth out of anybody on the offense besides Davis doing the few things that he did, the few high points that he did. So it was time. It was absolute time. It was beyond time.
Yeah. 100%, Pat. I agree with you, and I think your point about the lack of growth is definitely number one. I mean, Tim Kelly didn't have a lot of offensive coordinator experience when he became the OC for the Texans, so you would expect some growing pains, but you also, hand in hand, expect some growth. And it took him until the last game of the season, the second half, for him to, go to an up-tempo, modern offense, get Davis Mills passing the ball more than they're running the ball. We knew this entire season that the run game was horrible. Whether it's talent you want to blame, whether it's coaching you want to blame, whether it's play calling you want to blame, I think it's a combination of all three. But the run game was league worst. And so they were just shooting themselves in the foot time and time and time again. And there was no adjustments. There was no growth, like you said. It took them way too long to finally go up tempo. And it was just too late at that point. So Tim Kelly, goodbye. Hopefully they can bring in someone new. And that leads me to my next question, Pat. How do you feel about Pep Hamilton? Do you think, number one, what do you make of kind of the I know some local media put out that he kind of is thinking about leaving. He's been interviewed for the OC job for the Panthers. So number one, do you think he's going to stay or he's going to leave? And number two, do you think he would be a good OC for the Texans?
Man, it's hard to say. I think he'd be we've seen what he was able to do with Davis, right? You got 18 weeks of work, actually more with preseason and stuff like that. All this work with Davis, and you've seen where he's come since being drafted until week 18, right? It's a totally different guy. Yeah. He was sensing pressure better in the pocket. He was reading blitzes better. He was reading defenses better. His throws were just, he had some bad throws. I get it. But again, he's a rookie. He's a third-round pick. Yep. Not a whole lot of college experience. But there was growth. Week after week after week after week after week, you saw something that he was doing just a little bit better. And if at the end of the day, you got to think Deshaun is not coming back. I think that's a foregone conclusion, right? We all know that that's pretty much a 99.9999% a done deal. So you're going to have to roll with Davis unless they're grabbing somebody in the first round, which I can't see happening because I don't think any of these guys are any better than Davis would be in the third round last year. I feel like you've got to have some continuity for a young quarterback like Davis Mills, and I think the best thing to do would be to retain Pep Hamilton to do that. And obviously, you're not going to be able, if he's getting interview requests to be an offensive coordinator elsewhere. In order to keep him, you're gonna have to up it. You're gonna have to up the game for him, and you're gonna have to give him that responsibility and make him an offensive coordinator here. And go for it. I think the best thing you could possibly do. I think it's the best case scenario for the long term development of Davis Mills, and I think that's where this team is at right now. Is they've got to focus on that. You can't really focus on much else. I mean, I get the rest of the team needs some focus and some growth and everything like that, but that's your key component right now. Is you have a young quarterback that you have to invest some time and a lot of energy into to make sure this team is going to be successful. And by doing so, they've got to retain Pep, and I think that would be that's the best move that they can possibly make. They can't allow Carolina to pull them away.
I completely agree, Pat. Everywhere Pep has gone, that team has been better for it. Colts, Stanford, the was it the Roughnecks in the XFL? What was his XFL team? I forget. But yes, the Chargers and now the Texans as well. He is as a quarterback guru can be, right? And we're seeing the results. What he's done with Mills is magical, and he deserves a promotion. That's another part of it. Like, he deserves that promotion, like you said, to keep him. So hopefully he can do that. Hopefully they can maintain the continuity, because one of the death sentences for young developmental quarterbacks is, switching up their system every year, every few years. We've seen it with Marcus Mariota. We've seen it with Tua Tagovailoa. It's just not helpful. And so, like you said, they got to prioritize helping Mills. Quarterback is the most important position, most valuable position in the NFL. Everyone and their mama knows that. So you've got someone who, didn't shit the bed and show great growth over the season. Invest in it. Do right by him. Keep his guy, and bring back Pep. Hopefully they can do that. Do you like the combination of Pep Hamilton and a defensive-minded head coach? Because those are the guys that the Texans are rumored to be interested in, by Adam Schefter, by Aaron Wilson. It seems to be Brian Flores and Jerod Mayo are the guys. So do you like pairing up Pep with one of those two? What are your thoughts on those candidates?
Yeah, I mean, I get the flash behind Brian Flores, and that he may be this, guy that can hold your locker room together. He's a little tough on your guys. He's not going to take any crap. There's all those reports out there now that he was maybe too hard on guys, that he was trash talking Tua in the locker room and all this stuff. That stuff always comes out when a coach is fired. I feel like there's always this drama and this all the negativity always comes out. You never hear about all the good things that happens when a coach is fired, right? It's like they just keep piling it on while they're down. So, I get the allure behind Brian Flores. They won 7 games in a row this year. They started off terrible and they were able to turn it around, right? To me, that says something about what he was able to do, and what his coaches were able to do over there in Miami with the roster that they have. There was a lot of, Will Fuller being in and out every freaking couple weeks, and not being relied upon. The offensive line was zero help to Tua. He's getting killed and having to run for his life all the time. I think he'd be a good hire. Do I think he's the best possible candidate? Absolutely not. Okay. I'm kind of afraid of what this would mean for Nick's future. Like, we were talking about this earlier in the Discord with the guys. But not a lot of general managers see 3 head coaches. Okay. Mm-hmm. Nick is already through 1, in year 1. And maybe that buys him a little bit of leeway with ownership. But I would hate to see what would happen with a guy that, and again, it's only 1 draft that he did fairly well in his first draft, and making over the roster the way he did. Yep. But if he ties himself to a guy like Brian Flores and it doesn't work out, does that doom his fate? And that's something like that scares me. I'm like really afraid of what would happen in that instance if Nick would be shown the door also with the head coach if it's not a good, the results aren't good.
Right. So I totally understand that sentiment. I guess I want to learn more about what about Brian Flores specifically makes you think that, like, is it the fact that, oh, if he hires a Patriots coach, okay, maybe he's going to get tied to him and his future is doomed and he's going to get fired early or whatever? Or is it a defensive coach, like, or it's the fact that he's, kind of very intense? Like, what about Flores specifically makes you kind of feel that way, that, like, it could really doom Nick? Because, I mean, you could say that about any coach, saying that, like, oh, if this guy doesn't fail, it's Nick's second
You're
coach.
right, yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah. I think it's just more of that I guess Flores maybe got dealt a bad hand out in Miami, being what the roster makeup has been for the 3 years that he was there.
Mm-hmm.
For his first year there, they were tanking, obviously. The whole tank for Tua thing. And I think that their plans kind of got thrown off whenever Tua got hurt. Right. And so but he ends up falling in their lap later on in the first round. So they made out okay with that. They got the guy they wanted still. And then there's been just constant turnover in his coaching staff. That scares me. He's, constantly they're on 2 offensive coordinators or 3 offensive coordinators since he's been there. There's other position coaches that have changed over. I don't know if I feel like Flores may be very, very average.
Okay.
I just don't think he's that guy that can take this team from 4-13 and make them into an 11-6 team, a 12-5 team, a team that's going to be able to compete with the Titans for the next few years, the Colts who are on the edge of making the playoffs. The AFC is still very competitive conference, and I don't know if Flores is the guy that can push them up high enough and beyond to get them in the playoffs and be a contender for several years.
Yeah, I hear you on that for sure. That's always my worry as well, is mediocrity, being that 7, 8, 9 win team and never being able to get over that hump. That is my nightmare scenario as well. I hear you. I think to play devil's advocate and just prolong this discussion, I guess, and I think in terms of Flores, like you said, like, he's been dealt a bad hand, bad rosters, and mainly that is because of the guy who remained in their GM head coach power struggle. It's Chris Grier, the GM. I mean, this man, he made 2 trades for Minkah Fitzpatrick and Larry Tunsil, sending them out, got tons of draft capital, and they turned that into basically nothing. They turned it into Austin Jackson. They turned it into Noah Igbenogany. Now, their most recent draft class was pretty damn good with Jalen Waddle and Jalen Phillips, but Flores only had them for their rookie season, so he hasn't really been able to see those guys grow too much. So I think hopefully the idea is that, Nick Caserio is a GM that aligns better with Flores' philosophy, so there may not be as much coaching turnover and whatnot, and that Nick can get him a better roster to work with, and so he's not just taking them from a 4-win team to a 10-win team, a 9-win team like he did with the Dolphins, but he's taking the Texans from 5 to like you said, 11, 12. Hopefully that's the case. I think that's where kind of my optimism comes from, is that he's going to align better with Nick than he did with Grier, because at the end of the day, that's what did him in for being fired. It wasn't really the results, it was the power struggles, his relationships that he failed to maintain. So that's how I see it, but I totally understand your skepticism as well. Do you feel differently about Jerod Mayo then? Because Jerod Mayo is a bit different. He doesn't have that head coach experience. We don't really know what to think about him as much. So he's a little bit more of like a blank slate, a little bit more of a boomer bust potential guy. Do you buy into the Jerod Mayo hype, the 3-year linebacker coach for the Patriots, former player? Do you think it's too soon? Do you think, hey, we got to get this guy before he blows up and before someone else gets him, and then we're going to regret that? What do you think about Mayo?
I think it's too soon. I think, I get it that he's got this hype around him that's come up, over the past few years with the Patriots, and I get that their defense is kind of stuck with the way Patriots have always had a pesky defense year in and year out, right? Like, they've just always been that team that they're never like you don't ever see a ton of stars on their defense, but they're always that team that seems to go in there and just like totally rip apart your game plan.
Yep.
And it's so, and I get it. He's not the defensive coordinator. And maybe he does have a ton of input. I don't know a whole lot about him. I've kind of just really, I haven't looked into him just because again, he's only been an NFL coach for 3 years, and I get it. Like Vrabel was only an NFL coach for 4 years. He had a little bit of experience at Ohio State before that. So he was one of those quick, fast up and comers that it seemed to work out in Tennessee, right?
Yep.
But how often does lightning strike in a bottle, right? Like, are you thinking that this guy could do the exact same, kind of replicate the fast paced rise that like a guy like Vrabel or Sean McVay have had in the NFL? I think it's very difficult. I would have to do. I haven't done enough research on him to really formulate a just opinion.
That's fair.
To be honest with you.
That's fair. I like that. I always like when people will admit that, be honest about that, because we ain't gonna lie to you out here. We ain't gonna sugarcoat things. We're not gonna say things that we don't know or aren't educated about. But I agree with your take as well, Pat. 3 years is not a lot of time, man. It's not a lot of time, and it's just risky to me. So I'm with you on that as well. I think it's too soon, but I think he could be a good head coach eventually. But it's just there's a lot of good candidates out there. There's a lot of good candidates. I think this year, it might be better than last year. Like there's still the top guys like Eric Bieniemy, Brian Daboll. They're still out there. I think like both Tampa Bay coordinators are great in terms of Todd Bowles, Byron Leftwich. You got your guy Nathaniel Hackett, Green Bay OC. Talk to me about him, Pat. Is he still your number one head coach candidate, or is there someone else you got your eye for?
Yeah, I think he's pretty high up on my list, man. I just this is again another thing we were talking about in the Discord earlier. Like I get he's got Aaron Rodgers. I get he's got Devontae Adams. I get he's got Jones. I get I get the talent that's on that offense, right? But it always seems that given the situation they're in, the right play is always called in the right situation. And just like obviously you got to have the talent to go out there and execute it, right? But he's had a key role in all that talent and being successful. And so like that to me right there, one, like I said, you got to have the talent that's going to go out there and execute it in those situations. But two, you got to have somebody that's forward thinking enough that, okay, we're about to be in 3rd and 8. And so this is what we got to do. This is the play call that's going to work on the defense there, keep running. And it just seems like he's always got that. He's always just one step ahead. And I think that's a lot of what has attributed to the Packers' success. The play designs are just, they seem like they're really simple, but they're so effective at guys getting open. The run game has always been there for them. And their offensive line is pretty good, right? Like they've got David Bakhtiari and a couple other guys up there, but they don't have a lot of world beaters. Like they don't have a Quentin Nelson at left guard. They don't have, all these guys that are just out there or blowing people off the line, but they have guys that are doing the job really well. And I think that just speaks to his ability to coach, and the guys that are working under him to their ability to coach. And so that's what I look at is just, they've kept it simple. But their simplicity works when it needs to, and they're in the freaking playoffs as they're the 1 seed or the 2 seed again this year.
Yeah. Man.
And just I don't know, man. He's just I know I may not be explaining it right or very well, but just something about it. Like I feel like that's a guy right there that this is my guy that like if we miss out on it, he's going to end up on another team, and he's going to end up kicking our ass for several years.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I totally hear you. I totally understand your sentiment, and I love the point you made about simplicity, because I think when you're talking about bringing in head coaches who've had success in one system, one group of players, one group of talent, and trying to replicate that and trying to bring that over, I think you you almost need that level of simplicity, because I think about like the Patriots replication in terms of the offense, in terms of Bill O'Brien. And year after year, we always think about how, and we always talk about how this offense is just too damn complicated. There's too much put on the quarterback's plate. There's too much put on the wide receiver's plate. All the option routes. Like, yeah, if it all works out, great. Like, it's going to be an unstoppable offense. Like, there's no way to stop it, because if everyone's on the same page, everyone can master this super complicated, crazy play call offense, like, it's going to be amazing. But the reality is that doesn't happen that often. And so if you have a simple scheme that may look easy, but it's also easier to learn and easier to execute and master that more people can do, then it's more transferable to another team. It's more transferable to another group of talent, to Davis Mills, Nico Collins, and the other guys that we're building over here. So I like that thought, Pat, for sure. He's got 8 years of experience as an offensive coordinator, 12 years of coaching and experience in the NFL. So he's not just one of these young guys who is all potential. Like, he has production here. So I think he's up there as well in terms of a top guy.
One more thing. My biggest thing about him is, if you go back to the 2017 season, what team absolutely just came out of nowhere and embarrassed us and then made it to the AFC Championship game that year?
2017?
Jaguars.
Was that the Oh, yeah.
2017. It was the Jaguars. He was their offensive coordinator that year. He made Blake Bortles look like a competent quarterback.
Yep.
Right? Like, that's really hard to do. And I get it that the Jaguars had a crazy defense at the time too. Like, they had a bunch of talent on there. Jalen Ramsey, AJ Boye, and all those guys were over there. So they were Calais Campbell still there, possibly. So it's one of those, like, I get that the defensive side of the ball was really good for them, but just on the offensive side of the ball, it seems like everywhere he's gone, there's been some sort of success. When he was in Buffalo, Tyrod was there, and Tyrod looked pretty good, right? Tyrod looked really pretty good on him. Jacksonville's offense looked pretty decent when he was there, and I know they ended up falling off a cliff, but like, that whole organization is just run like shit. So, I'm not going to put all that weight on him. But then again, what his time in Green Bay, it's been short, but it's been super successful. So that's where I'm at. I feel like that's the kind of guy that they need to go at, that has just this track record of success everywhere that he's gone.
That's what I like to look for as well. I like experience. I like track record of success, like good productive seasons where he's helping out, yes, elite talent, but also lesser talent. So you've really got me sold on Nathaniel Hackett, Pat. I like your guy. I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna ask you one more question, and then so first I'm gonna ask the chat, what is one more head coaching candidate you guys want me and Pat to talk about? Put it in the chat. Who is your top guy that you want to hear our thoughts on? We're gonna ask me and Pat about that one guy. Whoever I see has the majority of votes in the chat, that is who we're gonna talk about. Before we get into that, while they put all their votes into the chat, I'm gonna ask you one thing, Pat. Do you think Lovie Smith deserves to be back this next season, and do you think he will be back this next season?
I don't know, man. That's such a hard, that's so hard to guess, right? Because of who they could bring in.
Yeah.
I feel like if they bring in a guy like Mayo, he would be a really good guy to keep around. One, because he's got the head coaching experience. Two, because he's an established defensive coordinator. The growth that we saw from the defense from last year to this year, I think that would be a really good and solid, smart move. Flores, I'm not so sure. I think their philosophies are completely opposite. Flores is more of a 3-4 base guy, whereas Lovie's more of the 4-3 Tampa 2 style.
Yep.
So I don't think their ideas really line up. And I think their personalities may clash a little bit too. So I think if Mayo comes in, yes. If Flores or somebody else comes in, no.
Okay. Yeah, I hear you on that too. I think it is. I gave you a tough question. It's definitely candidate dependent. So yeah, I agree with you on that. I think he's done a solid job, but I think it's hard to evaluate him after one season because there was so much turnover in terms of the roster. And I talked about it a little bit earlier. I'll just say it really quickly. I think turnovers are a very lucky stat, very high variance stat, and so I think if we could see another season of him, that would give me a better idea of who he really is as a defensive coordinator and who he can really how he can really benefit this team. If the turnovers continue, I'll be sold on him, because I think in terms of like talking X's and O's, like he did better over the course of the season in terms of switching up his Tampa 2 looks. They did a little bit more different stuff. I think he could do better in terms of blitzing and disguising, but that's kind of just not his philosophy. So there's only so much you can expect him to change. So the fact that he did vary his coverage a little bit better, you know what? I'll take that. I'll take that for teaching an old dog new tricks, you know? So, all right. Talked about a lot of stuff today with the great Patrick Storm. Our last thing that we will leave with him on, and then we'll get some of our Texans team leaders into the stream. We're going to talk about who the chat wants to talk about in terms of a head coach candidate, and the person I'm seeing the most of from a variety of people, because we got some people out here spamming Bill Belichick, the same damn person. Brian, yeah, I'm looking at you, Brian. The person I'm seeing the most across different guys is Mike McDaniel, and he is former run game coordinator of the 49ers. Now he's the offensive coordinator of the 49ers, I believe. He comes from that Shanahan tree, the Mike LaFleur tree. Matt LaFleur? I always get them mixed up. But he's in that.
So he got, you know where he got his start, right?
This damn building, NRG.
Yeah. Well, kind of. He was in Denver for one season, but he was just an intern there. So, but yeah, he started in Houston. So, yeah, I mean, I get there's a lot of hype around him. Yeah. A lot of hype around him. You know, young up and comer. He was with the Redskins for a little while. Atlanta when Kyle was out there, right when they went to the Super Bowl. There was one other team. I think the Browns, maybe. Browns.
I think I've seen him in a Browns hat. I don't know why. That just seems right.
Okay. Yeah. So he's kind of bounced around. He's kind of followed some people around. He seems to have stuck with Shanahan.
Yep.
You know, I think the 49ers have just been like John Lynch has done his absolute best to provide them with enough talent to be successful, and they've seemingly kind of just hung around like a 500 record for a few years. I think he would be a solid get, honestly. He's still fairly young. But when you listen to him speak, like if you catch some of his press conferences, there's a lot of clips especially on the internet right now with his name getting floated around.
Yep.
He just talks like he's very smart. And I'm not saying that he's acting smart. I feel like that he is very intelligent. And that's that new wave of head coach that's coming in, like these Sean McVays and stuff like that are just kind of outsmarting their opponent. I feel like if he comes in, it's a clean sweep, though, that they got a clean house, that there's not going to be anybody else that sticks, that he's going to want to establish his own staff.
Yep.
And I'm cool with that. Like, I honestly, I don't get, like, I understand that Culley was like maybe just that little bridge until they get their guy this year, but I don't see how you can retain, like, they keep this theory that they keep doing year after year of, okay, we're going to carry this guy over from the staff. We're going to carry this guy over from the staff, the previous staff. Like, I don't like that. I feel like when you fire one person, if you fire the head coach, they all got to go. But then again, this may be a case of where they kept Culley, or they hired Culley, and then they hired his staff for him. He didn't really have a choice. So that could be why some of these guys stick. But back to McDaniels, like I feel like that could be a really good get. I think it could be an under the radar hire that maybe not a lot of people are expecting the Texans to do. I just think, like, you know, you see he's been able to accomplish out there with, hell, we saw it here in person, what he did with Trey Lance against the Texans defense, right? Like, they were able to scheme up things and get him in a position, and they were able to walk away with that win. So yeah, I would totally be for it, man.
Yeah, I think Mike McDaniels is definitely, I think, the guy who intrigues me more out of, you know, last coaching offseason, it was Robert Saleh had a chance to take, you know, one of those hot candidate coordinators from the Niners. It was Mike LaFleur, the passing game coordinator, and Mike McDaniel, the run game coordinator. And Saleh chose to take LaFleur with him to the Jets. And I don't know how many people follow like Jets Twitter and people on there, but everyone is not a fan of Mike LaFleur and how he's scheming things up as their OC. They think he's ruining Zach Wilson. Brett Coleman made a video on him, so now Mike LaFleur is probably going to be the GOAT next season. But I think what we've seen from the results is that McDaniel is kind of the better candidate to take. And I think that lines up with, the success that the 49ers offense has had. If you think about their offense, like, it's always been about the run game. It's always been the run game that's been super, super impressive. And he's the run game coordinator. That is what makes their passing game offense work. Like, Jimmy Garoppolo is not going to look as good as he does without their elite run game. So I think he's the better, one of those young up-and-coming candidates. I think I would take him over, some of the other guys who are being mentioned. Oh, man, I am completely blanking. I was just doing a video today with Harley from The Lead, and he was asking me all these guys, and now I'm completely blanking. But I like Mike McDaniel, too. I agree with you. I think he would have to kind of just bring in his own guys, and that's where I'm kind of worried because now I need to do more research. But I think someone like him, I don't know like what his connections would be. Like, is he going to bring guys from the Niners? Like, who would be his DC? I think one good option potentially is their defensive line coach, Chris Kokorek. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. But I don't know, like, does he have the connections for that? Is he that good of a relationship with him, or would Kokorek rather just stay with the Niners or go somewhere else? I don't know. So I think with him, it's kind of a bit of an unknown and a bit of a boom or bust thing. That's kind of how it is, how I view all these young guys who, don't have too much experience and aren't even coordinators for that long. So there's risk involved with him, but I also see the upside. He wouldn't be my favorite guy, but I think he's probably, one of the better younger guys to take a chance on.
Let's see, did he overlap with? No, dang. I was going to say perfect defensive coordinator if he wanted would be if he had the established relationship with Vic Fangio, but Vic was here for only until 05 and Mike got there in 06, so they didn't overlap. That would have been too good.
That would have been too good, man. Fangio, I don't know. I mean, he got a raw deal because they just could never get a quarterback. I think he deserves another chance as a head coach. But yeah, I mean, he might have to take a step down for a season, be DC, prove himself again, and then take that jump up to head coach. But Fangio, if we can somehow manage to steal him as a DC, man, I would love to have him back. I think he's grown a lot as a DC and been probably a top 3, top 5 DC. If not, I'd say he's top 3. I think he's top 3. So I would love him.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that share that sentiment for sure.
That what? Sorry.
There's a lot of people that share that sentiment of him being a really, really good DC. Yeah. It's guys like him and Del Rio and Wade Phillips that were way better as coordinators than they were as head coaches.
Yeah.
And that may just be his role in this league. So
maybe it's always tough to tell. I guess final thing before we get in some Texans last team leaders. You want to join for that, by the way, Pat, or do you got things to do? I don't want to hold you up for too long. It's already been a long stream.
No, I mean I gotta get the kids to bed here in a few minutes. I got like 2-3 minutes and I gotta go.
All right. Last question then for Pat, and then we'll say our goodbyes to Pat. But last question I wanted to say is just kind of like, this is kind of a broad question, but would you rather go with a defensive-minded head coach and be able to retain Pep Hamilton and have that continuity for Davis Mills that we talked about is so valuable? Or would you rather go with an offensive guy, maybe it's Nathaniel Hackett, and then be able to bring in, maybe it's a Vic Fangio or one of those guys, maybe it's a Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer even got fired, and I think he could be another guy he's in that stage of his career where he's a better DC than head coach as well. Which kind of route would you rather go, Pat?
Oh, man, that's tough. Give me Hackett and Fangio.
Oof, that's the fire duo. Yeah.
Give me Hackett and Fangio. I just like established guys that would come in and help what you're about to turn into, very potentially a very young roster, given the draft situation and the roster turnover. And I know you're going to still have some veterans hangover from last year that Nick had brought in, but I feel like that would be the best case scenario because to me, and this all boils down to just kind of like if you got a lot of young guys and on the field, and then you got a lot of young guys as coaches, discipline would be my worry. Like execution, stuff like that. Like that's where it's at. I feel like you got to have some the experience on one spot, right? And you don't want a ton of old guys out on the field with a young group of coaches. And, you know, if you're going to have an older, experienced coaching staff, then, you know, young guys are going to be able to learn and grow and understand the game better because these guys have been around for a while. So I think that would be the route that I would go.
Absolutely. I hear you loud and clear. And that's what's going to be so big about this next stage in the Texans rebuild is getting that young talent. Nick Caserio finally has a first and second round pick, and hopefully he'll have at least 2 more of each of those in these next few years. I guess last thing is, what do you think?
They'll have some more this year for sure.
They'll have some more for this year, you think? You think a Deshaun Watson trade?
Oh, yeah.
A Laramie Tunsil trade?
Yeah.
Maybe something? Yeah.
So, this Texans cap has shared this sentiment that the return for Tunsil is going to be very disappointing from what we gave up for him.
Yeah.
But, you know, even if you get a second round pick for him, can you get that contract off the books? That's a win at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the Deshaun trade obviously is inevitable, and depending on obviously the other stuff that's going on. So we'll see. But I feel like once that happens, man, the Texans are going to be in a really good position. I feel like Nick can turn this thing around, man. We see one draft, and I see 4 just off the one season, 4 long-term guys for sure.
Yeah. He did great to hit on the mid-round, late round guys. So, I mean, you get him better draft capital. Ooh, watch out. But
I think we can all agree that Roy Lopez was the best pick in the draft, right?
100%. Big sexy. Roy Lopez.
All right.
For sure. Pat, always great talking to you, man. It's honestly really, really fun. I feel like we've come a long way in terms of us flowing off of each other and talking about Texans football. And I think it's a great content we're putting out for people. So I appreciate you, man. If you guys are not following Pat on Twitter, I don't know what you're doing with your life. I don't know what rock you got to come out of. But follow him at Patrick Storm. It's Patrick Storm TU, correct, Pat?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. There you go. All right. Hit him up on Twitter if you got any questions, if you got any thoughts. But thank you, Pat, once again. I appreciate you for your time. And have a good night. Take care of your fam, man.
Awesome, Jordan. Thank you so much again.
Alrighty. Take care. Talk to you later, bro.
See ya. Bye.
Alrighty. All right, before I get our Texans Thoughts team leaders in here, because I know they're itching to get in here, I see GM Fanatic, my boy Ryan. I see Jay. I see Money Matt in the building, so don't you worry. They come in 1 second. Shout out to Jair, Texans TXN Football. Follow him on Twitter as well. Is it JRLTU? Is that what it is, Jair? Is that what it is, JRLTU? It is. I was right. I just need to double check. But yeah, follow him on Twitter as well. He's very underrated, very smart in terms of analyzing this whole Texan situation. I love him. So yeah, follow him as well. And before we get our Texans Thoughts team leaders in here, I just want to say thank you guys for tuning into the stream. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Watch the first 5 minutes of the stream if you want to know why I left, my reasoning, my explanation, my apology for that. Because I feel really bad about it, and I just want y'all to know why. Basically just why. Nothing serious, nothing crazy, but I feel you guys were owed an explanation, and so I gave y'all that in the first 5 minutes. Vincent Marks doesn't want to follow nobody. Alright, fine, Vincent. You can get the... Nah, I ain't giving people that. That was old Texans Thoughts. Alright, let's get the boys in here. Are you sure? Looks like you're... Yes, I want to switch to this voice channel because this voice channel has the boys in it. We got Ryan, we got Jay, and we got Money Matt. Their mics are all muted, but I believe they will be unmuted any second now. And these are our Texans Thoughts team leaders. They pay a handsome $1 every month to be my friend and to be able to come onto the stream. So I thank you guys for your support big time. We're going to do a roll call right here just so everyone knows who sounds like who. So that is Ryan right there. Jay, hello. How are you?
Hello.
There you go. That's my boy Jay. And Money Matt, big dollars, Mr. 150, I believe, today. What's up, man?
What's going on?
There you go. There's our 3 leaders for today. If you guys want to as well join the stream, the link is in the description. There's 2 membership options for you guys. And so I really appreciate any supports and hope you guys enjoy the content. What's up, Chris Solano? What's up to everyone who is here? What's up to Ryan, Jay, and Matt? Thank you guys for tuning in for the stream for so long. I was not expecting this to go for so long, but I'm glad that we're back, and hopefully we can keep this up for as long as possible, man. How you guys doing?
Dude, you're back like you never left.
I know.
You think so?
Like,
I haven't seen
Dude.
the Texans stream get 200 people, much less 100 people.
It was
Facts.
crazy today,
Like-
man.
you came out on fire. And congratulations on that college deal for football.
Thank you, man. I'm real excited about it, and to start, I mean, it's all because of y'all, really, that the support was crazy. Y'all were killing it with the support, with all the kind words you guys were sharing in the chat, the donation. So, all shout out to you, all congrats to you guys for your kindness, man. It really is it's amazing to see, because I thought people were gonna have a bad response for me coming back, be like, "Where you at? What's going on?" But you guys were all really positive about it, so I appreciate it. But let's get into asking you guys some questions, asking me some questions. We're gonna go just down this list because this is the order that you guys are on my screen. We're gonna start with Ryan, then we'll go to Jay, then we'll go to Matt. Ryan, is there one topic you can pick? What do you want to talk about on this stream in terms of Texans football?
Draft prospects.
Draft prospects. Let's go, Ryan. Let's go. I know that's your money. That's my money as well. It's our baby. So let's talk about it. Let's start with pick number 3. Who are you leaning, Ryan? Who are you leaning with?
I mean, obviously, if one of the defensive ends fall, I think you go them. But Kyle Hamilton, barring something crazy in the offseason happening, I think he's a pick.
Yep.
But also, there's that Kavion interview where he said he doesn't want to go to Alabama and win national championships because he wants to be part of something greater. Where he actually wanted to receive an education. I don't know if you saw that yet.
I have not seen that, but it does not surprise me at all, because Kayvon, one thing that's really interesting to me about Kayvon, firstly, thank you for the donation for the $5 to Braylon. He says, the Jags traveled to Tuscaloosa, my old stomping grounds, this afternoon to interview with Billy O. I'm almost certain he's the front runner. Whoo! I'm going to ask y'all about that in a second, because, goddamn, Billy O, getting right back in the NFL. Crazy. But
Leo and TK.
they can team back up, man. Trevor Lawrence, make him the golden boy that they were promised. What was I even talking about this before? I was talking about the draft. Where was I going with this? Kayvon Thibodeau. Yes, he is a businessman. He is a scholar. He is already talking about how football, that's a great thing for him, but he's already beyond that and talking about his career after that. And part of me is so amazed by that he is such like a businessman and so ready to like do the next step of his career. And then part of me also thinks like this man, like, he's almost too ready for it. It almost sounds like he's like thinking about that more than he's thinking about football. Do you think I'm overreacting in that sense, Ryan? Do you think I'm like thinking too much into it, thinking too much like, oh, he's gonna take his business more serious than his actual football? Do you think I'm overreacting with that? Or do you think that's like a logical kind of thought?
I mean, I think maybe at this point overreacting.
Yeah.
I think it'd be imperative to see how he is the first season, because we see him as a raw prospect. He doesn't have a lot of refined moves down like Aiden Hutchinson.
Yep.
He is that raw athlete who overpowers, who has shown I can improve, I can have this,
Yep.
I can have all these pass rushing techniques. But that doesn't necessarily translate to the NFL all the time.
Absolutely.
So he has all the athletic ability in the world. The question is, can he learn how to use the athletic ability with timed moves and precision?
And it's tough, man. It's not easy. It's one of the toughest sports in the world, man. So it's not easy to separate yourself and improve a lot. But hopefully you can do it, man, because like the athleticism, like you said, it's crazy. I mean, I get why people kind of siege Devion Clowney, because like you said, he's a guy who relies on his athleticism. He's got speed to power, but he's got to learn how to refine those hands. So you're spot on with the scouting report right there. Ryan, I agree with you. PH has he's a quote unquote businessman. He do be like doing his cryptocurrency, his NIL stuff. I don't know, man. Maybe I think you're right. I'm overreacting about it. It's just interesting to me because it's kind of like he's ushering in this new wave of college prospects who, all credit to them, finally they get to make money with the NIL deals. And I guess I'm just not used to seeing that. And I guess I'm just overthinking about it and worried too much. And I'm buying into the, he needs to work so much on his game. And if he doesn't have that great blue chip work ethic, he's not going to make it. Maybe I'm overthinking that too much. But I don't know, man. I think it's an interesting thing to talk about. But the draft.
He's also only a sophomore, so I don't expect too much from him in techniques.
Yeah, that's fair. He can hopefully get with like a pass rush specialist, learn from some NFL veterans, and improve in that sense. But yeah. So we'll get back to you, Ryan. I want to do a round to the other guys first, ask them some stuff, and we'll get back to you as well. Jay, my man. First of all, how you doing?
Oh, you know how it is. It's a good day when the GOAT is back in town.
Let's go. Thank you, my man. Jay, if you guys want to join the Discord and join the Texan Thoughts team, I mean, this man will show you how to cook some damn food. He's always posting up his photos of his food, and it makes me hungry every single time, man. I wish I was in his house. I wish he could feed me. I wish he was my personal chef. I might have to hire you as my personal chef one day, Jay. Would you be down for that?
Bet. I'm there. Let's do it.
Let's go. All right, Jay, if there is one topic you really want to talk about, the first thing that's on your mind that you want to talk about the Texans, what is that? Hit me with it.
This is an interesting one. I kind of like this idea of talking about the draft.
Okay, let's go with that. Let's keep going with that.
Let's go.
I kind of like what Ryan said about taking a player at 3, but I'm of the mindset we should probably trade back, get some more picks. I like that idea a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'm a pick whore. I really like that. I like that idea of having more opportunities to hit. Nick proved he could hit from rounds, 3 to 7. Why not give him more opportunities, see what else he can hit on? And are we losing that much, dropping from 3 to 9? We might not get Neal or Hutchinson, Thibodeau, but there's some other good prospects there that we could really use, especially in the secondary.
I hear you 100%. There's a big portion of the Texans fan base that is team trade down. And in theory, I think it makes a ton of sense. I think in the top 10, there's not a lot of separation. In terms of prospects, I'd say like prospects like 4 to 10, there's really not a lot of separation. In my eyes, I see it as there's these 3, can't miss guys. Kayvon Thibodeau, Aiden Hutchinson, and Kyle Hamilton. And then there's a bit of a step down. And in that pool of guys where it's a step down, it's very minimal, like the difference between them. You're talking about Evan Neal, you're talking about George Karlaftis, Kenyon Green, Garrett Wilson, Tyler Linderbaum, Ikem Ekwonu, the cornerbacks, Derek Stingley, Andrew Booth, all those guys. So I agree. Would I rather get 2 of those guys or would I rather get Kyle Hamilton? I think it's definitely a discussion that is gonna keep Nick Caserio and the scouts up at night. I think at the end of the day, because I think if we were picking number 4, I would 100% agree with you, be looking to trade down, be calling teams right now, be harassing them every single day, trying to get the best deal possible. But because I think there are 3, it's kind of a big 3, I kind of want to just stay at 3 and just take that, quote unquote generational prospect, whether that's Hamilton, Thibodeau, or Hutchinson, and be happy with that. Now, that is one of my thought processes, and my other thought process is that it really all comes down to what is the offer on the table. Is a team gonna overpay and give me like 3 first-round picks just to slide back like 3 spots, like the 49ers did with Trey Lance? Is a team gonna trade up ahead of teams like the Giants, other quarterback-needy teams, to our spot and go get a quarterback? They're gonna go buy into Matt Corral or Kenny Pickett. Someone's gonna do it. Someone's gonna fall in love with one of those quarterbacks and gonna get desperate and pull a 49ers. And so if that's the case, if they give me a deal that I cannot simply refuse, then I'm with you, Jay. I'm team trade down. So what would that kind of trade look like for you, Jay? What would that Godfather offer be that you just can't refuse and you're like, yup, give it to me, I'm trading down?
Yeah, for me, I think I think it becomes a bidding war, actually. I don't know if it's just the Godfather trade. I think it has to become a bidding war, right? So, for instance, isn't it right behind us is New York Giants?
I believe it's the Jets, but
Is
I'm
it
going
the
to double
Jets?
check.
So, the Jets are likely not going to go after a quarterback, right? They probably feel like they've got their guy, Zach Wilson. He really hasn't had much to help him this year, but he had some spurts that he showed that he could do something. So they're probably going to roll with him again. But the Giants, are they out on Daniel Jones?
They should be.
Since we 99% sure that they are, they're taking a quarterback, right? And I think, have 2 picks almost back to back. So someone has to jump them because the first 3 teams are likely not taking a quarterback.
Yep.
The first 4 teams are likely not taking a quarterback.
Yep.
So if your guy is still there, you have to jump the Giants, Carolina, Denver, right? You've got those teams that are available to do that. Washington, exactly. Atlanta. All those teams, I can start a bidding war. And I can take stuff. And I'm willing to take it. So that's how you got to look at it. It's not just oh, can you pay me 3 first-round picks this year? Nah. It's who can I target? I can target those teams who need a quarterback right now. And I can take your picks.
Damn, GMJ out here. He's ruthless. I'm coming for your picks, he said. Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Giants are definitely the first team that you circle them like, hey, they might be the team to take the quarterback. Even Carolina might as well. So 5 and 6, those are spots you want to get ahead of. I guess 5, 6, 7 really. And so looking at the draft order right here, I can see Atlanta wanting to get aggressive and get a quarterback for Arthur Smith. I can see Denver. Denver needs to at this point. They got a new head coach now, so they really should try and get a guy in there. Washington, even Minnesota at 12. Cleveland at 13, like Baker Mayfield ain't it. We're seeing that time and time again. People are pissed off over the Kirk Cousins contract, so maybe they trade up, get a guy who they can sit for a year behind Cousins and then move on from Cousins. So you're absolutely right, Jay. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5 teams who are no lower than 13th and should be wanting to trade up to get ahead of those Giants and Carolina Panthers. So create that bidding war. I'm 100% with you on that. All right, we're gonna get back to Jay a little bit and just kind of have an open discussion with everyone. But we're gonna go to my boy Money Matt. How you doing? How has the life been? How's it been, man? It's been a long time.
It has been a long time. I'm not doing too bad. Started school this week, so this should be my last semester. I applied for graduation.
Let's go.
2 days ago, I think it was.
Let's go. I gotta do that myself. God damn it, I forgot.
Yeah, I'm living out here.
He's living. About to be done with the university life, man. I'm excited for you because I know how excited I am to be done with the university life. So I'm really excited for you for that next chapter, man, and best of luck to you. All right, same question for you. I hope you've been thinking about it since I asked Ryan. But what is your one topic you wanna start off with, Money Matt? That you want to bring up with the Texans?
Before I start off my topic, I just want to mention a little something that Pat said earlier.
Yep.
Talking like he forgot one of the most important players on that Packers O-line.
Who's that?
We got Southern Illinois Power, Royce Newman.
Oof. Okay. He's a
big boy Royce.
Was he a rookie this year or was it last year he was a rookie?
He's a rookie this year.
Alrighty. Yeah. They've got a lot of talent on that offense, a lot of talent on the offensive line. Elton Jenkins, Royce, like you said, big boy Royce. So that Packers offense, man, I think they're probably the Super Bowl favorites. I think that wouldn't really come off as too much of a surprise to anyone or too much of a hot take. But yeah, man, what's your Texans thought of the day then, Money Matt?
Well, we've already talked prospects and the draft, so I'm going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to go with the Texans 2022 opponents.
Oh, okay. Let me pull that up real quick. Okay, I like the switch up. What are your thoughts about that? 2022 opponents.
the way I see it, with all the rumors circulating around saying that Watson could go to an NFC East team or Miami is still on the table, looking at our opponents, if that is the case, we're going to be seeing Watson next season regardless because we have the NFC East, we have Miami. So,
Oh man! All right, so I've got it up on the screen now. Home games: Titans, Colts, Jaguars, of course, AFC South. Then we've got the Browns, which is always a team that it's tough because they've got a great roster. It's just the quarterback. What do they do with the quarterback? Do they go with the rookie? If they go with the rookie, I'm like, okay, we can take that win. If they upgrade over Mayfield, then that's another question. There'd be a dangerous ass team. Chiefs, Chargers, those are both tough games. The Eagles, they've been on the up and up. I think another year with Jalen Hurts and another year with that brand new coaching staff. I mean, they could be a dangerous team. But then you got Washington, which should be an easier team depending on what they do in the offseason. Not super tough, but pretty, it's above average in sort of in terms of difficult games for the homestand. Then the away games, we got Titans, Colts, Jaguars, Broncos. That should be an easier team. I mean, they didn't have a great season, and they'll be transitioning to a new coaching staff as well. Same thing with the Bears. So those are two easier games. Cowboys are going to be a tough game. Dolphins potentially, like you said, with Deshaun Watson. Giants potentially with Deshaun Watson. And then the Raiders. So, I mean, if Deshaun doesn't get traded to the Dolphins or Giants, I think those are two easier, those are very winnable games. I think the Raiders is a winnable game as well, but they're kind of hard to predict as well. What are they gonna do? They're probably gonna run it back, I guess. But you're talking, your point was more about the Deshaun Watson trade, right, Matt?
yeah.
Yeah, so out of those teams, out of the Dolphins, Giants, and I guess, do you think Washington is a team as well? You mentioned NFC East.
I think Washington is kind of a dark horse candidate.
What do you think? Do you think they would be a team that, because they don't have multiple first round picks this year or next year, so do you think they'd be a team that would have to give some players potentially in that deal?
I do. I could see us potentially getting Montez Sweat,
Oof.
maybe some guards or a tackle,
Okay.
but I think we could strip the Washington football team of whatever we can get, and Nick would make the most of it.
I hope so, man. Trader Nick hopefully can get himself a good deal. That is, we talked about it time and time again. That is his biggest test as the Texans GM. So far, he's been doing well, just playing it patient, holding the cards, and just trying to get the best deal possible. So hopefully he can maximize that. Hopefully he can create that bidding war. Man, we might have two bidding wars, guys. Bidding war for Deshaun Watson and a bidding war for the third overall pick. Whew.
And for Tunsil.
And for Tunsil. Okay, this is going to be the question for all
Yeah.
three of y'all. What is your prediction for the Tunsil trade? Give me a destination and give me the capital. We're starting with Ryan.
Oh, Matt and I have talked about this because of our
I
dumb
think we all have
mock
the same
drafts
answer for
so
this.
much. Bengals a second or third this year and a first next year. Give them the opportunity to have a first so that they're more likely to give things up. But Tunsil, a first, it's going to be a late first next year.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get that second as well,
So
or a third.
okay,
You either at that point, the early mid day 2 pick works well for you, and you get an extra first. And then if you're trading Watson to like the Miami, you already have 2 extra firsts. That's 4 firsts next year. Not to mention a trade back from 3.
yeah, I think you're right
So
in this.
if you're wanting a quarterback at that point too, in the 2023 draft,
Yep.
you have more than enough first round capital to get him.
To trade up to wherever you want. If you want to go trade up to first overall and go get CJ Stroud or Bryce Young, it's possible, man. It's possible. Yeah, I like the sentiment that you shared about, you don't necessarily need to get a first round pick this year in 2022 for Tunsil. Get a day 2 pick this year, but then get a first round pick the following year. I like that train of thought because I think with the Tunsil deal, and Pat mentioned this as well, it's not really about getting the same capital that you gave up for him. It's more about getting off that contract. And so if that means you're getting maybe a first round pick less than you wanted just to get the deal done, if that's what the market dictates, I mean, that's what the market dictates. You got to just kind of pull the trigger and get that done, because it seems like Tunsil and the coaching staff kind of came to an agreement, a mutual agreement that, hey, we know you had surgery on the thumb. Let's not rush you back. Let's not make you play through it. Let's keep you healthy, and let's reevaluate after this season and see where things go. That's kind of my thoughts. Is that what you guys agree with?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure next year the team that we're trading him to would only be on the line for $10 million guaranteed over the next 2 years. That's his only guarantee is next year, and that's $10 million. That's what they'd be paying him. Although he has $26 million cap hit the next year, 2 years for Tunsil for $18 million a year as it comes out. That's not bad at all.
That's not bad, because I think one thing that I've talked about in terms of this Laramie Tunsil trade is that, we traded for him with the idea that, hey, this man could potentially be, if not is, the best left tackle in the game, right? That was kind of the hope. That was kind of what needed to be true for the capital that we paid to make sense, if that makes sense, And I think what we've seen is that, all right, he's not the best left tackle in the game. Is he still a top 5, top 10 left tackle? Yes, that's what I would say. But I think even a top 5, top 10 left tackle, it's not going to make up for when you're like 3 or 4 other offensive linemen are hot doo-doo, right? So having just one elite guy and three trash guys isn't good enough. You kind of want to spread the wealth on the offensive line, and you can't have so much money going to one guy in Laramie Tunsil. You will need to use that for free agents, try and get guys on rookie contracts just to kind of distribute that wealth. And I think we see that the pass protection with Jerron Christian, it was a step down from Tunsil, but it wasn't overly detrimental. And I think the bump that we get up in the run blocking kind of, it makes that drop off in the pass protection hurt a little less. And then we see Titus Howard step in at left tackle and look like damn Laramie Tunsil out there in terms of pass protection. I mean, he's shutting guys down. The Titans had a really damn good defensive line last week of the season. Jesus, I can't talk. It's been 2 hours. My brain is fried. But he did damn great against those guys, against Bud Dupree, Danico Autry. So I think Titus Howard is your left tackle of the future, and that makes that Laramie Tunsil trade a little bit easier. We got Ryan's team prediction and capital prediction. Jay, what about you? Do you have the same thing as well? You got a different idea?
We have talked at this at great length. Matt, Ryan, and I have actually. So, it's pretty much the same for me.
Okay.
I feel like the Bengals are desperate. They're going to be desperate for a left tackle. We saw Joe Burrow literally light the league up, kind of like Deshaun did before we got Tunsil. Mm-hmm. And then he, got beat up in that last game against the Chiefs, similar to how Deshaun did against the Jags, or really against the Cowboys. And then he goes to the Jags on a bus because, he can't fly due to a punctured lung. Yeah. So the similarities are there. They're going to need to protect him. So I think the Bengals are going to have to make that play. I think it's a second instead of a third that we'd get from the Bengals. Okay. But I'd be fine with a third and a first. That's more picks.
I would be too. I think that's definitely a very good outcome in terms of being able to recoup that capital and still get off that contract. That's great. If that does end up being the capital. And I think the Bengals is definitely a team that should be on the top of, the bidders list, because they have kind of ignored that. They drafted Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell, and hey, they look like geniuses for that. I mean, he's having an insane rookie year as a wide receiver, but the team needs to be more balanced. And it's going to start with that blind side left tackle, pass protector, Laramie Tunsil. And you only get so much of a window when you have your rookie quarterback on his, you have your quarterback on his rookie deal. And so they need to do what Bill O'Brien tried to do and you know, be aggressive and trade for that left tackle and maximize your franchise quarterback. I completely agree with you guys. And Matt, you got the same thing as well?
I got the same thing. Like Jay said, me, him, and Ryan have literally spent nights like coming up with every possible scenario of what could happen. Like we've done mock drafts, we've looked at cap space, the grind has not stopped.
That's awesome, man. I love to hear that. That's the stuff that I like just love to do, grew up doing, like just always thinking about all these different hypotheticals, like simulating the off season, basically like imagining I'm the GM. Like that's literally like what makes me like fall in love with this team. I love that process of it so much. So I love that you guys do that as well. And if you guys want to join in on those discussions, man, join the Texans Thoughts team, join the Discord. We're all one big family there, and we just love to talk about Texans football, man. So if you like to do that, join us as well. The link is in the description. All right, we're going to go through chat a little bit. I'm going to ask you guys some of these questions, and then we're going to get up on out of here because it's been 2 damn hours. And as great of a time I've been having, I got to go finish this article that I'm about to write for tomorrow about the whole Texan situation. So let's get through it.
Also, one more thing. Burrow's rookie contract ends when Tunsil's current contract ends. So the timeline's line up pretty well.
There you go. More fuel to the fire, man. We got to just start adding the Cincinnati Bengals on Twitter and saying they got to trade for Tunsil, man. Maybe we got to make some Bengals burners, infiltrate Bengals Twitter, and plant the idea.
Bengals fanatic.
Bengals fanatic. Bengals thoughts. Bengals Mar. I don't know. But yeah, man, that might be the move. All right, let's go through chat here. Chat, if you got any questions, I appreciate you guys hanging through for the stream.
Someone asked him about Bailey Zappi.
Oof. Remy says we trading back for Kyle Hamilton. Yeah, see, that's the beauty of this thing, is that I would take Kyle Hamilton at 3, I think, but I don't think most of the NFL would. I think that they're gonna get scared off a little bit about, oh, he's a safety. We don't draft safeties that high. Look at what happened with Jamal Adams. Look at what happened with Isaiah Simmons, right? So I think there's enough skepticism around the league to the point where you could realistically trade back from 3 to maybe it's 7, 8, and still be able to take Kyle Hamilton. And that would be the best possible scenario whatsoever. Remy. All right. Is there any chance of a logo and name uniform change? We need a clean slate. Davion Bryant says it. What are you guys' thoughts about a new change?
I don't think that's possible.
Does the McNair still own the team?
Yeah. The McNairs
The only time a name changes is when a team's extremely offensive with their names or they relocate.
Yeah. If you asked about the Washington football team, I'd say, oh, yeah, this is coming soon. But this is the Texans, still owned by the McNairs. Nah, it ain't changing anytime soon.
I agree with that, unfortunately. PH says, did you get that shirt at the game? Text, shut up, Pitch. All right. Yes. The one football
Kansas?
game.
That was a fun fact.
Yeah. The one football game I have ever been to in my life. My first game was an amazing experience. Went down to Austin, saw UT play Kansas. Shout out to my boy Paul Hamlin, the Texas Unfiltered. Treat me, boy.
He's a great follow, by the way.
Great follow, by the way. And they got embarrassed, man, by Kansas. It went to overtime too. We fought back and made it a close game. And we had that little bit of sliver of hope, and then we still lost to Kansas. So I shouldn't have been wearing this shirt right now. But I mean,
fun fact about that. Kansas went 4,788 days without a road win until that game.
Hey, we're breaking records out here. We're breaking records. Texas breaking records. Let's go. My boy Willie Boy P still in the chat, still out here supporting. Appreciate you, my guy. He says, let's get lost in the sauce with another first after Hamilton. What do you guys feel about Ahmad Sauce Gardner, the cornerback out of Cincinnati? Would you guys take him? Say we get that second first-round pick for Deshaun Watson, or say we trade down and get another pick. Would you guys take Gardner?
How long have we talked about Sauce?
Oh, God.
Gardner is a safe pick at cornerback. If you don't know who your defensive coordinator is going to be for a long-term solution, as in you go with an offensive head coach Sauce and Hamilton are safe picks for your defense. Their guy, as a safety, Hamilton can plug and play every single safety variant, and he can play nickel, and he can play a little bit of linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
Sauce, he can do man extremely well. He can do zone extremely well. You draft him, you're kind of set for whatever system, either of them. You get them together, you start bracketing guys off for fun interceptions at that point.
Oof. And you know what those two guys would go really well with? Which head coach? Brian Flores. There you go. There you go. He comes from that New England tree where their defenses love their DBs. They want their Stephon Gilmore. They want their Devin McCourty. They want their Xavier Howard, their Minka Fitzpatrick, right? They like having that alpha safety and that alpha cornerback and pairing that up and being able to go cover zero across the board. Just man your guys up. Say, I know I'm a better athlete than you. I know I can cover better than you can run routes. And so I'm going to go blitz all my other defenders, and good freaking luck. And if you remember the game versus the Dolphins this year, they did that to us over and over and over again. And Tyrod Taylor and Tim Kelly had no idea how to adjust to it. And it's a very hard defense to play against. And that's another reason why I love Brian Flores. He's aggressive. He trusts his guys, and he lets them make plays. Whew. I would like that duo a lot, man. I would like it a lot. Okay, this is a fun one. Texans. So Joe Nathan says Texans should be him home, hire Bill O'Brien. I don't know exactly what he's trying to say there about him home, but bring him home. So you know English better than me, Ryan. You know English better than me.
That or my psychology degree is working. Joe Nathan 71.
There you go. He's got you. He's in your brain, buddy. But yeah, so this was a question posed earlier, and I forgot to go back to it, but we're going to it now. So shout out to everyone watching the stream for the full 2 and the 7 hours of this stream. Bill O'Brien, man, what are your thoughts on the Jaguars potentially hiring him?
2 free wins.
We still have his playbooks, I guess.
I'm gonna be serious a bit. If Bill O'Brien learned anything from his tenure with the Texans, there might be trouble. The likelihood, though, that not that he didn't learn, but the likelihood that things go right for him, because if he was to go to the Jags,
Balke would be his GM.
Yeah, he's still got the guy that the Jags fans in their last game of the season on Fan Appreciation Day said Firebalk or Firebalky or whatever his name is. He's got that. He's got not a great offensive line. He's got a good running back. He doesn't have the best wide receiver room. His offense wouldn't be great. He'd have to go out there and replenish that entire team.
Yep.
If he can do that, we might be in trouble. The likelihood of him doing that is very low.
How can you do that and fix the defense at the same time, though?
Yeah. He's got pieces, but he doesn't have, the whole... he wouldn't have come to to a team like the Texans who have more pieces in place that we can use and jump off better.
I hear you. Yeah. I think Bill O'Brien is one of those guys who... he's a better coordinator than he is a coach, and he's definitely a better coach than he's a GM. I mean, that's not even a conversation. And I think, like most coordinators, like most coaches, like you said, Jay, he does better when he has the talent. If he can reshape that team and have a juggernaut like he did with Alabama, then his mistakes aren't going to be as big, as glaring, and he can kind of just ride that talent and play with them and maximize them a little bit. But Jacksonville doesn't have that talent. They really don't. They got Trevor Lawrence. They got Miles Jack. They got Josh Allen. That's about it, right? So they really need a different GM. So, I mean, if you can go get a new GM, which doesn't seem like what's going to happen, then yeah, I could see Bill O'Brien maybe having some success if he hires some good coordinators, if he just if he delegates, he doesn't put too much on his plate. But I don't know, man. Bill O'Brien, does he really seem like the type of guy to learn from his mistakes, to grow and to develop? He doesn't to me. So
No, because if I'm a fan at the home games against Jaguars, I'm yelling, "You suck."
yeah.
I'm getting in his head. I don't care how mean that is as a fan. It's going to be kind of fun, and at the same time, we might be getting him a fine. We might getting Bill O'Brien to get suspended by how he interacts with fans.
That would make the team better, though, unfortunately. So you don't want to do that.
I mean, him yelling at fans.
I mean, him getting suspended if he can't coach. And I mean,
it's the game after us, so who cares?
Oh,
True.
Man. Oh man. Y'all be funny.
Yeah, fun.
Jabraylon for $5. He says, Jordan, what do you think about taking Ryan Greenhagen, the linebacker out of Fordham University, in the mid to late rounds? To be honest, Jabraylon, I have gone through.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I've gone through 100 people plus now. Ryan Greenhagen is a creative player in Madden to me. I've never heard of that guy before. He's auto-generated rookie in 2027.
I have 1,000 names on my big board. He's not. I don't even have his name.
Yeah, man.
dang.
That is rough.
This man said he's a creative player in Madden.
So
No
at the end of the day,
disrespect.
he saw his time with the combine to post something really amazing.
Yeah, no,
Very early in the draft season.
no disrespect to Ryan. Was it Forhagen? Ryan
Fort
Greenhagen.
Greens.
Ryan Greyhagen. Greenhagen. Greenhagen out of Fordham University. Let me look at his stats real quick, because I see right now Sports Illustrated does have a draft profile up on him, so someone has watched him. So that's why I haven't watched him. Someone else did, I guess. 2021, he had 48 tackles, a sack, an interception. That's about it.
That sounds like a Mr. Irrelevant pick if he gets picked.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
Grant Stewart did better, and he was Mr. Irrelevant.
so he's a senior linebacker, 6'1", 245 pounds. I mean,
A bit short, has the right size
yeah.
or weight.
This is like the just the tip of the iceberg in terms of evaluating a player, in terms of what I look at. I actually have to watch him play, Jabraylon, to give you a really good spiel on him. But I will write down his name on my phone right now, because you are my guy and I got you. Ryan Greenhagen, linebacker, Fordham. You DM me. I'm gonna try and watch him tonight while I'm going to sleep. Trying to find some stuff on him, and I'll let you know next time, my guy. $10, Vincent Marks. Thank you for the support, my man. The donations, guys, today have been absolutely insane. We are nearly at $400, which is just bonkers and mind-blowing to me. So I really, really, really appreciate you guys, every single one of you, for any form of support, whether it's just clicking on the stream, whether it's liking it, subscribing it, donating $1, donating 150 damn dollars money, Matt. Whew. I appreciate y'all all equally, so thank you very much. Vincent says, guys, Bill O'Brien wasn't a bad coach. If Jacksonville gets him, we're done. So don't brush over Jacksonville if they get Bill O'Brien. What has been with the love movement for Bill O'Brien recently, man? I don't know why.
I mean, was Bill O'Brien that bad of a offensive guru? Was he that bad of a quarterback guy? He was
Bill
a quarterback.
O'Brien.
Remember?
Yeah, but Bill O'Brien had top 15 offense, with 18 different quarterbacks, right? It didn't change when he got Deshaun. We weren't a top 10 offense when we got Deshaun.
Until
even when he was playing, even when we were bad in the first 4, our offense wasn't killing it, right? So I'm not disparaging Bill O'Brien the coach, because Bill O'Brien the coach, he's actually a decent coach. But I mean, just look at Alabama. Yeah, they were putting up 50 burgers with Bryce Young, but look what happened to them in the national championship game. Georgia schemed his offense out of the game. It was a defensive fest until the fourth quarter when Georgia pulled away.
Yeah,
you got to put pressure against Bill O'Brien's offensive, and then they'll fall apart.
He's
unless
again.
he's going to have Tim Kelly as an offense coordinator.
Yeah, then that's just no good. And I wanted to spell the rumor. Bill O'Brien is not a hack. Like, the dude is legit.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. He understands the game. He is a quarterback whisperer. He knows how to get the most out of his quarterback. Deshaun Watson progressively got better the time he spent under Bill O'Brien. We can see that because in his last season, last year, he led the league in passing yards. That's not something that any Texans quarterback has done. I don't think. Matt Schaub might have got close, but he's the first that I know of. So that's he's a good coach. Will he be able to do it with less talent than he had on the Texans? The likelihood is no, he won't.
Yep.
Unless he has GM capabilities, and he has mentioned that he does not want that. At least that's what reports have said. So I wanted to dispel this rumor that I'm like killing him as a coach. I'm not. It's just he does not have the talent that he had here in Houston.
He also has the ego still. I don't think he fully got humbled. I think he still has the ego where he's going to have to have very much culture fits for him.
I mean, the man went bam bam up there in the box. He went crazy.
Yeah, Hitch is completely right. He is mentally insane. I mean, I think the guy, in terms of decision making, I mean, I hear you, Jay, and I hear you, Ryan, in terms of like, he wasn't the worst coach out there. There are definitely worse guys out there. He was solid at his job. I mean, he got results at the end of the day. He really never lost the locker room until the final season. So over 7 seasons, like that's pretty impressive. He is a my way or the highway guy. And yeah, he got knocked down a peg from the NFL to college, but he was also coaching Alabama. So it's not like he just went to obscure state university to go be their offensive assistant, right? Like he was still like the best assistant job in the entire nation. At Alabama. So I'm with you on that, Ryan. I don't think we can really say he's been humbled and his ego has gone down at all. But that's also something that like we as fans like can't really speak to. Like hopefully he's gotten better at that, but we don't really have any evidence for that. But yeah, if that man is ever going to be a GM again, I mean, he's going to ruin every single and that franchise that he works for. So I hope the Jaguars hire him as GM. I hope they give him that power, man. But even if they hire him as head coach, I'm not scared. I don't think he's going to be able to put it together because, like Jay said, he's not going to have the talent for it, man. He is not at all. And Money Matt with another $20. I mean, earlier I said I love all y'all equally and appreciate all y'all equally, but I lied, all right? I lied, Matt. Come on. How can I not? Come on now. No, I'm playing. But I appreciate you,
I'm paying the bills, y'all.
He's paying the bills. The stream would not... My electricity would have cut out by now if it wasn't for Matt. So everyone thank Money Matt. But yeah, man, that's why we call him Money Matt in this building. All right, it's 9:18 for me, so it means it's 11:18 for y'all. Y'all must be tired. I'm gonna go with one more question here.
Nah, I'm big chilling, honestly.
Y'all are good.
Okay.
All right.
I could go for another hour or so.
God damn. Honestly, I could. I just need to get some work done. But so we're gonna do one more
That's
question
fair.
here, and then we're gonna call it.
I gotta have something to read tomorrow.
Yes, sir. I need y'all help on this one because I've got a long ass article going right now, and it's kind of like a multi-parter. So I give my thoughts on David Culley, I give my thoughts on potentially hiring a New England coach, and then I talk about each 3 of the candidates, and it's probably gonna end up being like a 3,000 plus word article. Should I just break it up into 2? Because I could break it up to the point where I just talk about David Culley and I talk about New England coaches, and I could have another article talking about the 3 guys, Flores, McDaniels, and what's his face, Mayo. And I think that would be a bit easier to digest and easier to read. But then I also don't want to just prolong it for too long, and then they're gonna go ahead and hire someone tomorrow. You know what I mean? So what do you guys think I should do?
Well, last time you tried to do something, they ended up hiring someone the next day.
Yeah.
I remember that. You had something ready, and then I think let it all out tomorrow.
Okay.
Your fans are still going to be reading it.
That's fair.
And if it's longer, it's longer.
That's fair. Okay. I hear you. I think just get it all out, might as well. And Texans Tears has a good point as well. Read only a small bit about Culley. Yeah, forget Culley stuff. Everyone knows what the deal was with him. Okay, I can shorten that. That was the shortest part of the article already. The longest part is definitely talking about my thoughts on hiring a Patriots guy, and all three of the guys right now. Culley is about like 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's about like 8 or 9 sentences. So honestly, I might just keep that in there.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Just let's be real. I don't think Lovey was all that bad.
I don't think he
Like,
was bad per se. I just
he
don't
wasn't-
think like people are riding his dick right now, and I don't
Like,
think that's.
He wasn't bad. He wasn't good.
Yeah.
He didn't cost us games by his decisions, but at the same time, he didn't help us win games.
Yeah, I think.
I guess you could kind of reverse that though at the end of the season when he still had guys motivated. Like he had some positives, but were they enough to say, "Hey, he should keep being a head coach"? No. Were they enough to say, "Hey, he wasn't a total bust as a head coach"? Yeah.
Yeah. As a DC, right? Yeah.
Or Lovey. I don't know.
Ooh.
Lovey was one of those people that I feel like he got the bad end of it because the defense was on the field 3/4 of the time for the first halves.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think Lovey. I think overall he was a net positive. I just don't think he's a guy that you're like, okay, we don't want to mess with the defensive side of the ball. We don't want to bring in Mayo or Flores or Todd Bowles or something like that because we have Lovie Smith. You know what I mean? And that's that. Those are some of the takes that I'm seeing is that, oh, we don't need a defensive guy. We got Lovie Smith. He's fine. Let's go get an offensive guy. I don't think he's been that good for the Texans in year one, in my opinion. That's my thoughts on it. The article right now is 2,000 words, and that's without me talking about the last guy, Jerod Mayo. So that's probably gonna be another like 500 words ish. Probably not 500, maybe like 300 or something. So yeah, we'll see. I'll probably just release it all. I've just been trying to do a better job of writing shorter articles because I know I don't even like to read stuff for that long. So, but it is what it
I don't
is.
know. I love reading your articles, especially Jalen Petrie.
Ooh. All right, we're gonna finish it with him, Ryan, because I know he's your guy. Safety / linebacker out of Baylor.
Not Baylor.
Talk about him.
Dave Aranda knows how to use them.
Yes, sir.
I don't know. I've been talking to you about him for how long now?
Months, man. I mean, it's been at least 2 months. But
I feel like it's been like September since the season started.
Yeah.
He's definitely a standout player, and I told you to watch him, and all of a sudden JT Woods pop off the page.
JT Woods, man, their free safety. That guy he's kind of like a poor man's Kyle Hamilton. Super tall, rangy, and he played super well in the bowl game. Him and Petra were very impressive in that bowl game. Petra is this safety linebacker hybrid. He plays the star position, which is a position that Tavier Thomas is kind of playing for us. But Petra is a little bit more physical. He's better as a blitzer. He's more of a dynamic athlete. I think he has a little bit more potential as a coverage guy because of that athleticism. Now he's a little bit more raw in coverage. I think I trust Thomas a little bit more because he had a hell of a year for us. And so that's what kind of makes this decision tough for me because, like, I saw someone earlier in the chat say Jalen Petra in the 3rd round. And Jalen Petra in the 3rd round is perfect value for me. Perfect value.
I mean, I think it also
him
depends on what defense you want to run.
Yeah.
As you said in the article.
Absolutely. He's a scheme-specific sleeper. And I think he fits in a lot more schemes going forward because nickel is the new base. People like blitzing nickel corners. More simulated pressures means you need rushers who aren't defensive linemen. You need rushers who are DBs. You need rushers who are blitzers. And so Petra's value is going to skyrocket in that sense. I think he'd be great with Brian Flores, with Jerod Mayo, running that scheme where you need these athletic DBs who can cover, but also DBs who can blitz, running that cover zero heavy scheme. So I would love him for the Texans. I think you could really play him and Tavier Thomas, like you said, Brian, depending on the scheme that you want to play. And I think with Flores, you could play them both because a lot of the time you're going to have 4 corners on the field and still like 2 safeties or 3 safeties and 3 corners. And Petra and Tavier Thomas can share the field and lock down those either side of the slot. In terms of
Petrie would be like an undersized will linebacker at that point too.
Yes, sir. And so
I think that's a direct quote.
it works as well with Lovie Smith's scheme. If we say want to go with an offensive guy like Nathaniel Hackett and we keep Lovie Smith, put him in at will, and we actually got a guy who is more athletic than the linebackers we got right now and can cover a little bit better because he's 6 foot, like 200 pounds, something like that. So he can fly, man. This guy's a heat-seeking missile. Jay Reed gone, yeah, probably. He wants.
We'll see about that. It's not 100% yet.
Not 100% because he wants a lot of money, and I don't see him getting the money he's reportedly rumored to be asking for.
I don't see that from any team.
Yeah, no team's paying him what he's asking for.
No. They would be stupid too.
If you want to know what he's asking for, join the Texans Thoughts Discord.
I didn't even
Woohoo! Advertising.
I didn't even have to say it.
What a drop.
But yeah, that's all I have to say about that. If you want to know, join up. It is what it is. Alrighty, man. It's basically 9:30, 11:30 for y'all. So I'm gonna end the stream here. I appreciate you, Ryan, Jay, and Money Matt, for coming through. Take
Also,
care. Yes,
before
sir.
we
Yes,
cut
sir.
the stream off, Jordan, sorry to interrupt. I'd like to give a shout out to my favorite Kiwi at Beige.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Beige.
Love
He's
Beige.
back.
Love me some Beige.
He left and he came back like a real G. Yes,
Beige,
sir.
the real MVP. Love you, Beige.
Went away for a bit. Can't believe we still live, boys. Yes, sir. Andres also came back. Shout out to all my Texans Thoughts team members I see right now. Andres, PH, the new boy. He became a Texans Thoughts team leader. Is that what that green is? Or is that just a new...
No, that's just I actually don't know what that is. So I think
Green
mine
is just being part of the Discord.
Just a new member. Okay, yeah.
It's being
Yeah, my name is Green too, so
Damn.
blue is mod, and gray is.
Oh no, I'm just talking about like the. You see like the logo, like where it's like kind of like a. Like it looks like.
Oh,
a
the
S
logo.
Yeah.
That's how long you've been a member, so
Yeah,
that's a new
okay.
badge.
So it's a new member. All right. I don't know if we got any new leaders tonight, but I'll double check so I can add y'all to have some more perks in the Discord, like getting into this voice chat channel for the stream, calling in, having some cool stuff on you, just some basics. Sorry, JJ's point. Hey, next time, my guy. Next time, you still got time. You can always upgrade. It's okay. I'm playing. But yeah, man.
Oh, we have 100 people in the Discord.
How many?
100.
Ooh, let's go. 100 of y'all supporting.
cough, cough. How many active though? Cough, cough.
Ooh, hoo, hoo.
Dang.
Calling him
Shots
out.
fired. Bop, bop, bop.
Damn. Alrighty. That's going to do it for the stream. Thank you guys so much. Been here for a while, no lie. Yes, sir. Appreciate you and all the support you guys have shown me. Thank you for welcoming me back with open arms to YouTube. I'm glad I'm back. I'm happy to be back, and hopefully we can keep this up for as long as possible. Next stream, next week, we might have a damn new head coach by then. So when that news drops, I mean, keep an eye out on Twitter, because I'll probably talk about if I'm going to stream or not when the news drops of a head coach, of an OC, of a DC, stuff like that. It is officially refresh your Twitter timeline 32 times a day season, because it's the best part of the damn year. It's the off season where we get to rebuild this team, get to add new coaches, add new players, add new position coaches, all that fun stuff, and we get to hypothesize about how to build a team. That's my favorite part of this whole thing, man. So stay tuned. More streams, more draft videos in terms of scouting reports. Hopefully you guys enjoy those. Follow me on Twitter if you're not already, Texans_thoughts. And yeah, man, that's going to do it. Take care, y'all. Enjoy the weekend. Thank you for tuning in. And don't ever forget, the film don't lie.